the low-value men.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site. You can believe that. You can believe that. You can believe that.
Contracted COVID, but says with a mixture of medicines, including the controversial horse dewormer that has poisoned hundreds of people nationwide, he's now recovered.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
From the headlines to the whispers dark, low value mail, we'll get the mark. Low value mail at 9 o'clock. Where truth and fiction take a walk.
Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon? You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
Our stories are.
Every damn week, it seems like. It does. Is it because Israel's in the title? Is it the Jews? Welcome back, everybody, to an all-new episode of Low Value Mail on this Monday, June 16th, 2025, the year of our Lord. This is episode number 149. If someone can tell me why every week, we thought we figured it out. For the last 3 weeks, we've had these sync issues, lag issues on the show and the bathhouse. It only started last week on Low Value Mail. And then we came to the conclusion that it was because we were multi-streaming. So tonight I was like, you know what? I'm just going to not multi-stream. Problem solved. Wrong. Incorrect. And then the second time, it just works. Does anybody have an idea? Anybody? I don't know. I have no clue. Other than just similar to the Tindler swindler, also a Jew, my enemies are out to get me. It's the only thing I can conclude. That's it. Anyways, welcome back, everybody, to an all-new episode of Low Value Mail. Joining me in the second hour, we have the one and only Dustin Nemos. He's a citizen journalist who has spent his life following every rabbit hole, every conspiracy theory, and connecting the dots, and every moment since 2017, exposing the deepest secrets of the deep state. He's also the host of The Silent War at nemosnewsnetwork.com, among the many other things he does, and he will be joining us. He's also banned from YouTube, so should his appearance get me banned from YouTube, not going to lie, that would be a sweet, sweet relief from this prison that I have placed myself in. I don't know what I'm thinking. But we're here. We're doing it. We are doing it. Only one topic tonight. Only one thing to talk about. And then I'm going to open the phone lines because I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of opinions. You have much to add. Like I mentioned last Tuesday night on the bathhouse, if you missed it, new policy in place because I want to keep my YouTube channel, believe it or not. I like having a YouTube channel. If you say something, and I'm speaking to literally 3 of you, if you say something when you call in that causes the episode to get demonetized, you are on a 2-week call-in ban. Further infractions will result in more severe penalties. And again, I'm talking to like 3 of you because should eventually I'm going to lose my channel. And if I lose my channel, show's over, guys. That's it. That's it. Also, I'm doing the super chat thing. If you guys want to do extra 30 minutes of open lines. Although I have an appointment at literally 8:30 in the morning, so I don't mind if we don't. But if we must, then we must. Dylan Farnham says, Danny, please stop platforming rampant anti-Semites that literally hate you. That's why they're taking down your show. It's bringing down the show. Is this true? Should I stop platforming these people? I like talking to them. Is a dialogue such a bad thing? An open dialogue? That sounds like some liberal gobbledygook, as the great Norm Macdonald stated. I think you should talk to these people. All right. Well, the Jews are at it again. Aren't they? They're doing it again. Israel is now in another war, this time with Iran. See how I rolled my R there? Sorry, not Iran. I meant, or not Iran, but not Israel. America is at war with Iran. Trump just posted on Truth Social, America first means many great things, including the fact that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Make America great again. Now, a lot of you voted for Trump because he promised America wouldn't start any new wars. Well, you should have voted for Kamala Harris. Whoops. Kamala Harris wouldn't have allowed such a malarkey, would she have? Nope. And technically, Trump is getting you on a technicality because he didn't start this war. His lapdog in the Middle East started this one. So he's technically like, I didn't start the war. Israel started it. And now, make no mistake, I'm sure some of you might disagree with me on this. It is not a coincidence that Trump gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum to make a deal on nuclear weapons. And then on day 61, Israel just starts bombing the shit out of them. Doing a little noticing on my part, if you know what I mean. Because that is not a coincidence, okay? It cannot be. There's no way that's a coincidence. Again, to me, that sounds like Israel is doing the bidding of America and not vice versa. Because, you know, we've had a lot of you, a lot of guests, a lot of people on the internet. They say America just does what Israel wants. Seems like it might be the opposite in this scenario. And again, I know some of you believe America is so captured by Israel that Trump only gave that ultimatum on behalf of Israel in the first place. And, you know, Trump doesn't make any decisions on anything unless Bibi signs off on them. I don't believe that's the case. Some of you do. Some of you do. It's your right as an American. If you're Canadian, that is not your right. It is not your right as a Canadian. You do what you're told. Okay. And, you know, American politicians have always said, they go, Israel's our greatest ally. And to be honest, much like almost all of you, I did wonder why. I was like, well, why is Israel America's greatest ally? Number one. Giant foam finger, number one. I did wonder this. And, you know, this doesn't give specifically a definitive answer here. But it must be nice to just have some country just go do your dirty work for you here. Just be like, hey, go do that. And they just go, oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Or maybe Israel's, you know, just playing Trump or has some serious blackmail on him. You know, Elon did just say that Trump was on the Epstein list. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation to be had. I don't think Trump's the type of guy who really likes to be number two to anybody at all. I find that hard to believe that Netanyahu's like, yo, we're going to go bomb the shit out of him. And Trump's just like, yes, sir. Whatever you say, sir. I don't think so. Trump's not that type of guy. Not to me anyways. Netanyahu actually went on Fox News, said he has proof that Iran was behind not one, but both assassination attempts on Donald Trump, which you got to admit, kind of odd. Trump's been in office. We're almost at the 6-month mark. Feels like 6 fucking years, long ass years. We don't know anything about Thomas Matthew Crooks and very little about Ryan Routh. Is that how you pronounce it? Routh? Very little. Now, if they do have this information, and you have to imagine that if Israel has this information, America too has this information, Could this be payback? Definitely should not try and kill Donald Trump. That's fucked up. But if they have it, just release the evidence. Maybe they don't want to release the evidence because America doesn't want to admit that they have the evidence that Iran tried to kill Trump because he wants to be like, no, this has nothing to do with that. Israel's just going after them. Not that this even justifies the attack, but you would think it would at least people would be like, I mean, again, most of the anti-war people who voted for Trump didn't want any wars. A lot of you, don't care if that was the case. I mean, that is a good question. And you can tell me if it came out that Iran did try and kill Donald Trump, would you accept America going to war with Iran? Seems like an offense worthy of going to war if you try and kill one of their leaders. It seems like something that you would do. The question is, would you even believe it? I'm sure most of you would just be like, they lie to us all the time about everything. I mean, we all remember Iraq, all that shit. Also, for the Jews out there, can you please shut the fuck up about Israel doing this to avoid another Holocaust? Please, read the room. Nobody gives a shit. Just say you don't want a hostile neighbor having nukes and, they fund terrorism. That's sufficient. It's just every time it's cringe-inducing to just be like, oh, there's going to be another Holocaust. They're not going to do another Holocaust. You guys literally have 1/10 of their population, and yet you still dominate them. You obviously have America helping out, but just shut up with the Holocaust stuff. You don't have to bring it up every 2 seconds. I know some of you were like, preach, brother. Also, last week, Slav said that Israel was bad at war. Seemed like they're pretty good at war to me. Seemed like they're great at war, actually. They seem like they're really, really good at war. I mean, they went in there and they're just fucking bombing the shit. They killed all the scientists. What do you do? Just target all the nerds? I'm sure some dude forgot his lab coat and he was like, ooh, dodged a bullet there. Also, I don't even, I'm not an expert on anything, by the way. I know a lot of people are like, podcasts like this, they're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about half the time. These are just opinions. Okay. It's not called high value mail. That's for sure. Someone can explain this to me. How can Israel be fighting in so many wars on so many different fronts against Iran's population is 90 million people. They have the third largest oil reserve in the world. Granted, they have tons of sanctions against them, so it's not like they can just freely sell it, although it seems like they sell it to Russia and China and all that stuff. But they have way more people. 90 million to 9 million, something like that. 7, 8. I don't know what Israel's population is. How does that work? I'm sure some of you know the military stuff better than me. How can you spread yourself so thin? Is it just purely shit goes really sideways, America steps in? Is that what it is? Because, Trump was, you can never believe what Trump's saying, but Trump was very much like, yeah, we're not entering this. Now it seems to be that they're been sending some tankers or like planes to refuel and stuff, but it doesn't seem like they're getting in on the mix. I don't know if they're just sending planes just to kind of be like, hey, we're ready to go, so don't fuck around too much, Iran. But Trump very much seemed to be like, we're going to stay out of this. But again, based on the whole Day 61 thing, it does really seem like Israel's just doing this on behalf of America. I don't know how you could see that any other way. Maybe I'm wrong. You can call in, explain it to me. I'm very open to many different possibilities. I wonder, some of you I'm sure are probably of the opinion of, why can't Iran have nukes? Other countries have them. Israel has nukes, allegedly. They've never used them, which I suppose proves their trustworthiness, besides, of course, the whole Samson option thing. I guess other countries don't trust Iran. I don't know. I know some Persians. Seem like pretty trustworthy people to me. Great people. Never met a Persian I didn't like. I've only met 5 of them, but I like them all. And, Israel has many opportunities to use theirs. A lot. You'd think if they were going to use a nuke, Israel, you think they would have at some point. But, they haven't. Also, did you know that Iran coined the term death to America? That was a big mistake on their part. I know they probably didn't see way out in the future like that. But that was a fuck up. That was, you don't want to be the country that coined the term death to America. Maybe you thought the future was going to play out a little differently. Maybe you thought, hey, we're going to coin the term in the 70s, death to America, but give us 10 years and we're going to be right on top. Well, that didn't work for you. And again, America, if my neighbor was like fucking had t-shirts that said death to Danny, wouldn't be super pumped if he had guns all of a sudden. I wouldn't feel great about it if he just was like death to Danny. And now look, I'm certain that Iran has their reasoning for their whole death to America thing. I'm sure they're like, America meddled in our affairs and they caused them some problems, as America does. America's like a girlfriend. Sometimes they like to meddle in your business. Okay. But yeah, the death to America thing, not great. And look, I know this is the whole thing is like, we're supposed to be like, oh no, not Iran. Do we have to give a shit what's happening in Iran? I know, obviously, if you're an American, you're like, I don't want my tax dollars going to this. If you're in the military, if you have family members in the military, totally understandable. Can these people just not blow each other up? Isn't that a win-win? Don't we all win when they just all blow each other up? We just sell them the weapons? Isn't that a big win? Am I missing something? And of course, the parallels to the whole 9/11 war on terror thing, hard to ignore. That's another thing too, is America can never really get into a justified war regardless, because they've lied so many fucking times about needing to get into wars. It's truly the boy who cried wolf. Even if they're like, yo, they really are about to build a nuke and they're going to drop it. But you're like, where are they going to drop it? Somewhere in the Middle East? I mean, I guess it's not good for oil prices. I guess it'll cost more to put gas in my tank, but that whole place is a shithole. I mean, I don't know. Blow up that shithole? I don't know. Is it the end of the world? I mean, it'll be the end of the world for them. Yeah. It'll be the end of the world for everybody over there. Also, Trump just posted, because, here's the thing, before I get to his post, but it seems like the U.S. is kind of fixing for a little regime change here, which, have they ever successfully done that? I know, like, maybe Japan after World War II. Have they their track record is not great on regime changes. Doesn't seem like it. And it seems like, Newt Gingrich's and the Lindsey Grahams of the world, that's what they're going for, which, just mind your goddamn business. But also, Iran, just lay off the nukes, man. I don't know why I'm calling a country man, but Trump just posted this on True Social before the last one. Not long, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran, which has a population of close to 17 million people. How the fuck are 17 million people going to evacuate a city? So, that doesn't portend well for the situation. Also, does Iran having a nuke really affect the security of the United States? Does it? It's pretty far away. From what I understand, they don't have any weapons that could reach the shores of the United States. Maybe they could bomb Europe, but that's Europe's problem. Why is that America's problem? It's Europe's problem. Oh no, you're going to bomb Germany or France or some shit? Boo-hoo. Fix your own problems. Now, look, if I had the option, would I prefer them to have nukes, not have nukes? I'd probably prefer them not to have nukes, I guess. But also, I've watched every season of 24, and I might be so propagandized to the point where I could just never reprogram myself. Maybe it's not a big deal they have nukes. Seems like you don't want them to have nukes. Ideally, the less shithole countries with nukes, the better. Right? But, and again, I guess some people are like, I don't know who tweeted this. It's going around, though. Laura Loomer's been like, watch out for a terror attack in the United States. I guess that's the main concern here. On top of, obviously, U.S. troops being deployed, tax dollars being wasted, is casualties in the United States from some sort of terrorism. And look, Trump has said at length that many terrorists came in through the southern border, Islamic terrorists specifically, and are just kind of waiting to be activated. Seems as good of a time as any right now, or it's an overblown problem. It almost seems like it's one or the other. Either we guaranteed we get this shit, assuming this escalates, and then he was right, or this doesn't happen, and you go, oh, this wasn't, terrorists are not here. Because if the terrorists are here, I mean, look, I live at fucking ground zero for this shit, New York City. Absolutely. Like, subway system, I ride the subway every day. That shit is wide open. All you got to be able to do is hop a turnstile or have $2.90. Boom. You could do some real damage here. Now, I hope nothing happens, obviously, in terms of that. Definitely, if you're watching this and you're a terrorist, don't do any terror, especially in New York City. Here, LA is nice this time of year. But look, I'm sure this won't be the last time we're going to be talking about this. I'm going to open the phone lines now. Phone lines are open. Let's hear what you have to say about this. 1-888-949-2969. Are we fucked? Are you upset with Trump? Let's read some super chats. Dylan Farnham says, oh no, I read that. Anton says, what's next? The gas chain bars? Dylan Farnham, in 14 words or less, explain 88 things you love about Israel. 88, that's a lot. Reagan Foster, his lapdog in the Middle East. Trump is the lapdog at this point. Yeah, I don't know. Sean from Pittsburgh says, no business like show business. Wallaby's back. You're the highest value male here, Danny. Shout out to Nameless Wallaby. He does the intro music for this. Go check it out. Ekoth Desert. A fucking banger, if I might say so myself. He was out of the fold for a while. I think people were being rude to him in the Discord. Don't go in the Discord. Poison 1553 says, please, Danny, please don't make me fight for your people in the Middle East. I mean, again, I might be wrong on this. That whole day 61 thing makes me think might be the other way around. Sounds like my people are fighting for your people, even though, you know, most Jews don't identify with Israelis in any capacity whatsoever. Before I pick up some calls, like and subscribe to the channel. If you're an audio listener, make sure to follow the podcast, leave a review. If we hit the super chat goal, as mentioned, we'll do an extra 30 minutes. And if you want to support the show, you can do so. Patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL. You get ad-free episodes, video, audio. You get... There's like a live chat thing on Patreon. You get all sorts of stuff. Extra episode every week. And once I hit 500 subs, we're going to give away $500. Also, tell a friend if you enjoy the show, because you know YouTube's not going to help me out with this. And then also, we got a new episode of The Bathhouse tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Live from the Stand Comedy Club and Green Room. God willing. God willing. I have to say that. I have to preface this, God willing, because I've never been more certain that God has forgotten me. All right. Phone lines are open. Let's hear from you. I'm going to go to the calls. We've got Drue. Drue!
What's up, Danny?
How's it going?
Yeah, dude, by the way, I have a couple of questions here in a note
Yep.
that I wrote thinking about this. Okay, first question, dude, is very topical about this whole Iran, whatever. So what time is Connor's bath time?
I don't give Connor baths. I don't do the baths. That's the wife's job. I couldn't tell you what time his
But
bath
there's a
time is.
time. Does it
He doesn't have a
missile strike?
No, his bath time is literally when his eyes get so crusty and he doesn't really allow, you know how dogs are where their eyes get all crusty and then they don't like you just like picking them out. And then it just reaches a point where, or he's just like has too much, like, you know, you'll look at his leg and there'll be a piece of shit stuck to his leg and you go, it's bath time. But he doesn't have a specific bath schedule.
Well, hold on. Okay, so this isn't in the notes, but you wash the poop out of the hair instead of just cut it out and then wash them, or do you?
Sometimes you cut it out. Sometimes you cut it out. Sometimes it just depends how much. Like I'm talking about like a speck of shit. If it's like a big chunk, because sometimes he has short hair, sometimes he has longer hair. If his hair's longer, cut it out. Definitely, that's a lot easier. Sometimes the hair's short though, and you kind of fuck up his style.
That might have been the most Jewish thing I've ever heard you say. The speck. You almost said speckle.
A speckle. Sometimes you have a little speck.
All right, so question 2. If Connor was gay, by the way, he's not gay. It's confirmed.
My dog is not gay.
What celebrity would he have a crush on? This is a question for the views. Like,
that's
if Connor was on the View,
that's a hard question. If Connor was a homosexual dog, fuck, man.
Yeah, a gay dog.
I don't know. Tom Brady?
Damn, that's a...
Is that a good answer? I don't know.
It's a good answer, but that's an awkward visual.
Hey, man. You're the one who put me in this
Connor
position.
Fucking Tom Brady?
I mean, Connor wants to. Connor's got no shot with Tom Brady. Come on, man.
You don't know that.
I have an idea.
Related question. This is question 3. Connor's favorite boy band from the 90s.
Backstreet Boys.
Good choice. Good choice, Connor. And question 4. How do dogs do human years if they don't know math?
He doesn't. He just lives and then he dies.
How does he know how old you are?
He doesn't know how old I am.
But
he has no concept of any of this stuff. He just literally just eats treats and shits and walks around and stuff. Plays with his toys.
He just dogs around?
Yeah.
You're not teaching him about any of this?
No.
He's not like a political pundit with you?
No, he doesn't. Dude, my wife doesn't even know about any of this shit. You think my dog does?
Hey, your wife shouldn't. She's girl brain.
Yeah, well, he's a dog brain, and that's the same thing. Man. Yes, man-dog brain equals human-girl brain.
So then what is girl dog brain? Hold on.
It's probably about the same.
What is this, Matt? All right, so now hold on.
Okay,
now,
one more question. I gotta go. Yeah, last question.
So when Connor Dog has his own podcast, will he have Mocha Dog on?
Absolutely,
Robbie's dog, and they can have.
Yes, I'm sure we're going to be seeing some AI dog. I'm sure we're going to be seeing some AI dog podcasts in the pipeline. We're going to be seeing those. They already have that baby podcast. We're going to be seeing some dog podcasts for sure. All right, Drew, anything else, man?
All right. I love you, buddy.
Love you too, man. Drew, everybody. Dog related question. Anton says, just come out of the closet, dude. Is that for me? Because I ain't gay no more. I never was. And I ain't no more. Let's go to Frank. I think this is Frank out in New York. Frank, are you there?
I'm here. That's one of the best callers.
Yeah. Asking the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah. I'm answering the hard-hitting questions while also bringing the hard-hitting commentary. So
sure. I know you have some opinions on this, so let's hear them.
Yeah, man. I mean, I actually am like one of like the very small amount of people in this country that used to work in manufacturing.
Okay.
And the funny part about manufacturing in this country, especially like in certain areas, is that it's like 99.9% Spanish people on the line.
Yeah.
And it's about 1% like American managers. And the American managers are all, they could be, Indian or black or whatever. Some Some of them are even Spanish themselves. Some of them are white. Usually the people on the top of the totem pole are white, but, you know, sometimes they're mixed. It doesn't really matter. But the thing is that I'm just wondering how the hell, I mean, I want them to do this. I want them to crash the whole immigration structure. I want them to send all these people back home. They're all scammers. And the thing is that, like, I'm just surprised, and I want to get your take from it. I'm just surprised that, like, so many Americans and probably Canadians too are just so ignorant of this. Does almost every single person in the, you know, in North America just have no idea where any of their stuff comes from?
What stuff specifically? You're just talking about like manufactured goods? I mean, I think they think most stuff comes from China.
Yeah, whatever manufacturing is left here in this country, you know, like they just have no idea what, like, where,
who's doing the labor, you mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, just like how it works. I mean,
they don't, dude. They're on. I mean, unless there's a TikTok explaining this, most people don't know or give a shit. They're just like fucking just scrolling TikTok, and they couldn't care less. But yeah, I mean, the immigration thing, Canada right now. I mean, I see it all the time. People are like, teenagers can't get jobs anymore. Like all the shit that you would have considered like a summer job for a high school student is all gone. Like they're basically competing against immigrants, like people on like, you know, PRs or whatever, the permanent resident visas, and you know, they're competing against adults for these jobs, and they just like can't get them. Like it's a very high unemployment rate for that bracket.
Well, yeah, and that's the roll up to what I want to get to, and then I'll hang up. Is that since I worked there before, all right? So I worked in a lot of these factories, contract manufactured pharmaceutical companies. And the thing is that in the low-level factories, every single person on there, and people out there that are listening to this, you're probably hearing it now. They have this like program that they use in jobs where all you need is just like a social security number that works.
Right.
They don't do anything. Your name has to be the same, and the number has to be the same. And the thing is, you could be like Ruth Goldberg, and you're like looking at like a 5 foot, like 20-year-old Mexican woman.
Sure.
And the thing is that they'll just be like, "Oh, you're hired, Ruth Goldberg," and they don't do any other like, you know, investigation about it. I worked in a factory where this woman, Adriana, got fired because they found out that she was using a fake social security number. The next day, she was hired back as Adrena or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
So why'd they did they not fire her for performance? They were just like, hey, this is a liability. Just come back once you sort this out. And she goes, okay, I got a good one.
Exactly. And the thing is that one of the guys was saying to me that you could get social security numbers for $10 or something a pop, or I don't know. Actually, no, it wasn't $10. It was like $100 a pop from like the city or something like that.
What?
Like they would just like, they would have, they would have somebody that they would go to. They would give them a social security number, and they would kind of try to match them up with, you know, the sex and the
who receives
the
that tax liability though?
Well, see, that's the thing, is that a lot of these people like are elderly or whatever. They're dead already. Or
I mean, if you're dead,
knows?
that's one thing. But you're like, if you use someone's social security number, then they just end of the year, they're like, okay, well, you owe all these taxes from your full-time job, and they're like, what?
Yeah, I mean, and look, that's the thing. And you know, you don't want like you were saying before, we don't want this slave labor force who sends 50% of their money out of the country. Hopefully this bill passes. I know everyone is like crying about like the debt ceiling getting higher. Who cares? But the thing is that in the bill that says 3.5% of all money leaving the country is going to be taxed. And on top of that too, it's going to have a shitload of money more for the ICE agents as well to get more of these people out of this country. Because like you were saying before, no one could start at the bottom level anymore. We have teenagers that can't even get McDonald's jobs now, because the thing is, and then when these American teenagers go in there, it doesn't matter what they are. They could be black or Spanish or white or whatever. The thing is that if they get into one of these jobs, all these illegal aliens that are there right now are going to try to get them fired, or going to try to make problems for them, like it's some sort of prison or anything like that. I've actually had to speak to multiple people at work and tell them, stop being rude to this person. Stop. And they like henpeck each other. They henpeck the new kids that are in there. They want them to leave. So they want their friends to join. And also all of them have like 3 different babies from 3 different baby daddies. They all know how much money they could make to qualify for all their EBT and benefits like that. It's all a freaking scam. And I just want everyone to know that. I just want everyone to know that this needs to go through. I don't care if I have to pay $20 for a gallon of milk. All these people need to go because Canada and Europe, especially the United Kingdom, Spain, France, that their whole nations are dead. All right. Because sooner or later, this is exactly what's going to happen. They're going to crash because of all the money that they're spending on these third world cave dwellers. And all those, one time, and one dictator is going to come in and flush them all back to the Middle East or Africa or Asia or wherever the hell they're coming from, and they're going to be gone the next day. But you never know. I mean, they might be destroyed, and they might even become our enemies.
Yeah,
you know? But
and
anyway,
I mean that's the thing is Americans are just like everybody complains about. You know, they don't like how the demographics are shifting. Mostly white people obviously don't like the demographic shift, but you're not having kids. This country, the entire economy is a Ponzi scheme that relies on there being constantly growing populations. So either you guys can do it yourself, you as in Americans, or the government is going to do it for you. There's no 2 ways about this. Like the entire thing is set up on growth.
Well, I get that, and you're right. But the thing is that why did they really bring them in? They really wanted to bring them in because they wanted a permanent underclass voting base. And once they leave, their permanent voting base is gone. Like that Muslim lady that married her brother, Ilhan Omar or whatever her name is. Yeah. The only reason why she's in politics is because they farmed the votes of her neighborhood. They farmed the votes of all the Somalis.
To be honest, I've never really agreed. I've seen that talking point a million times, but I've never really agreed with that because like you look at the last election, Trump won 54% of Hispanic people. By that logic, that should have been single digits, not 54%. Cubans vote Republican. Like lots of groups don't get brought in. And like, I guarantee you Eastern Europeans who come in, if you came from any kind of Soviet bloc country, they don't vote Democrat. Like a lot of people, I personally think it's purely just like, it's this growth thing where they're like, we need more consumers. We need higher consumption. You know, the debt is spiraling out of hand. The only way that you can mitigate that is just like more people buying more shit. It's the only way out.
I think that, you know, where she is from, there's a whole enclave of refugees. Yeah. And they farm their vote constantly. But to your point is that this is the reason why that they want to send like NAFTA. NAFTA was they couldn't import the third world into the United States. So they exported all the manufacturing into the third world. Yeah. Now what happens is that they're like, okay, we're going to import the third world into the United States. And also, we're going to have that permanent slave class that is going to replace the middle class of this country. Because you want to know, the thing is that they don't know what rights are. They don't know what free speech and gun rights are. They don't know habeas corpus. They don't know anything. Yeah. So they come here. They're on 10 different types of entitlements. They work for $10 an hour for 10 years. The robber barons love them. And the thing is that they'll always vote to keep their benefits.
For sure, so that's true.
So that's why they're here. That's what. And the thing is that they know that the American people are just too smart. They were so afraid of the internet. They said everyone is waking up to everything. Everyone is not afraid anymore to say anything. Everyone knows that the game's rigged. And the thing is that's why, back to what the voting statistics were. That's why, like, even the first generation immigrants were just like, the country's going down the tubes, and if we don't vote Trump in, it's going to be gone soon. And look, they're doing well. They need to do more, and also we need to put like a boot on the neck of all these people who own the manufacturing facilities and say, hey, go hire that depressed Appalachian families. You know, all the depressed Appalachians that are, day laborers once or twice a week. Go hire them, give them a good job, give them a good pension, give them a good 401k at least, give them good benefits.
You have to incentivize these employers because they only operate from their own personal interests. And, you can't just be like, yo, go hire this. All you can do is make the other people not available. That's the best you can do.
That's the incentive. The incentive is not having a permanent slave class. And anyway, thanks for taking my call.
No problem, man. Later, Frank. All right. Let's take another call here. We got Dustin Nemos joining us. Top of the hour, 10:10. He'll be joining us. Hello.
Hey.
Hey, what's up? You're on Low Value Mail.
Hey, Danny. Hey, this is Burken.
What's up, Burken?
Well, man, yeah, it is kind of like I had a bunch of different stuff on my mind, but I want to kind of reiterate what some of that guy was saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is sort of like, well, so they are taking our money and then giving it for free to non-white, basically the entire society is angled against straight white males.
Oh yeah.
It's the only demographic you can't get a scholarship for.
Well, it's because you're so privileged.
We are, obviously, right. So so the funny thing is, if you replace the word privilege with intelligence, I think that perfectly maps to the actual situation.
Yeah.
And I know it's a joke, but it's also, I think that is actually what our privilege is. I do think that there are different disparities between.
I mean, there's plenty of intelligent people who are not privileged just because of the color of their skin. I mean.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. But I'm thinking like on aggregate, on average.
I mean, it's meant to penalize.
Margin, that sort of thing.
And again, you know what? Like the tide is turning. I actually went this afternoon. I don't know if anybody's seen this on Instagram, but this guy, this musician in New York, he made this musical called Slam Frank, and it's about Anne Frank, but if she was like Latino or something, like Latinx.
Okay.
It's fucking hilarious, man. I went and saw it. It's like the guy started posting these things as like a troll. And then everybody was like, is this a real musical? And he's like, of course it's a real musical. And then he went and wrote a fucking 2-hour musical. It's crazy.
If Anne Frank was a Latina?
Was like a Latinx. And it's honestly really good. Like they're like, I went to like the very first one. It was not even, it was like the industry show or whatever. And then, but like all the shows are basically like sold out. But like, everybody there is like, and the whole cast. So it's like all Anne Frank's mother is black. It's like fat black woman.
Okay.
Her dad is like a gay dude, a neurodivergent gay guy. Then like it's like everything. Like they just shoehorn in everything. But everybody's like, this is like in New York City, liberal New York City. Everybody there is just like laughing at the whole thing. Like, so the tide is turning a bit, is what I'm trying to say.
Sure. No, that's sort of reassuring. You triggered a memory I had. I was like talking with my sister-in-law, and she's like, she's a very sweet lady and all this, but she's like she's like woke or whatever. So she was telling me about how like her and my brother are like maybe neurodivergent and like they're like not perfectly gender conforming and stuff, and so she's like, oh yeah, I have like this. Like it wasn't autism, but it was like something adjacent.
Yeah. They had this whole thing where I guess the son of like the other family that was like with the Franks in the attic, he comes out as like non-binary, and then she's like, well, I'm in love with you, so that must make me pansexual, and they're all like just
sure,
dude, the whole it was hilarious, honestly hilarious.
And my sister-in-law was like, I don't shave my legs. And so that means I'm like non-gender conforming.
Yeah.
And so I missed it.
Literally, you're like, don't shave your legs. Nobody gives a shit. You don't get any points for not shaving your legs. The best we can do is we're not penalizing you for not shaving your legs like we were before. Yeah, that's the best we can do.
Yeah. Okay, but then a few minutes later, I had the best comeback, or not comeback, but like follow up. What do you call that in a joke where you like add on to something at the very end?
Tag.
A tag, yeah. I had the best tag. I was like, and in my head, I was like replaying the conversation. I was like, oh yeah, well, I'm a bit of a gay retard myself. I try not to beat myself up about it too much.
Yeah, they don't like it when you say gay and retard in the same sentence.
No, but it's so popular. It's super popular. You can't say it exactly like that. You have to use one of the other 150 synonyms for those words.
Absolutely.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Anything else? Anything else you want to add here?
Well, yeah.
Thoughts on Iran?
I was talking to you a few months ago about lineage level competition.
Okay.
And so basically, like when you if you have to choose someone to die between like your adjacent family member and like a total stranger, like you pick the
stranger.
You choose the family member gets to stay alive. Yeah, and then the stranger dies. Yeah. So this phenomenon plays out at the population-wide level. It just keeps scaling, because then it goes to like from your brother to then your cousin to your second cousin to your third cousin, all the way up, all the way through as large a population size as you can imagine. It just keeps scaling up in that.
Yeah, I was actually listening to this audio book, and they were talking about this guy Tim Urban, and he was talking about segregation, and they did a study basically saying that because people have circumstances in their lives where they're forced to live places for many reasons.
Okay.
And if they were not forced to live, everywhere would naturally segregate basically like nearly 100%.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
If everybody just had like unlimited money, nothing to do, unlimited resources, everybody would just naturally segregate.
Do you know the biologist Brett Weinstein?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah. He basically says he doesn't. I don't know if he would agree exactly with that, but so there's two modalities of cooperation, and one is like kin-based cooperation, or like how closely genetically related you are.
Yeah,
that's like the conventional like primal modality of cooperation that we've been doing for hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of years. And then there's reciprocity, especially like economic reciprocity.
Mm-hmm.
So basically so he argues that basically like the West, the system that is the Western world, is based on economic reciprocity, like how much do you contribute to the society? Like are you like a net drain on the economy, or are you productive, basically? And if you're productive or whatever, or at least if you try hard and put out all your effort and stuff, and you get compensated based on your productivity rather than how closely genetically related you are to the ruling, to whatever like system is ruling, to the people who are in charge. So that's the West is based on reciprocity, but when that system starts to break down,
then you just go with whatever, just who looks like you.
Then we naturally revert to genetic kin selection. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's the natural one. Go ahead. One last thing. I got to take some other calls. I just got to take some other calls here.
Yeah. So basically, I think that's the fundamental issue here. I think the global pie is shrinking, and people are starting to catch wind of that. And so I think that, like, especially the Palestine-Israel thing, that's kind of like the first place where it would break down, where the West would start to break down and revert from.
I mean, even the right over this Iran thing is going to be fracturing. Trump called Tucker Carlson kooky Tucker Carlson. He's got a nickname for him now. A lot of people on the right, Dave Smith, like all these people who are like Trump supporter, like made a mistake. If America goes into Iran, big mistake. Shouldn't have voted for him.
I mean, it's just very obvious that that those people, like the phenotype, like how you present, like how you look physically, is like the biggest marker of your genetic relatedness to other people, and so it's just very obvious who is not very closely related to other people in the Middle East, basically. So
yeah. Okay, I gotta let you go.
All right, man.
Good talking to you, man.
For sure. Great talking.
All right. We're going to take, I only have time for one more call because I have Dustin waiting, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll hit the thing and then we'll take more calls in the last 30 minutes at 11:30. And we got Mortimer. What a name. Is that a real name? Mortimer.
Yes, it's me, Mortimer. Mortimer Schwarzenrich.
All right. What's up?
Hey, it's Dylan. So I want to be real quick with this about Iran.
Yeah.
And as I was on the phone waiting, I was looking up this interview by Gary Vogler on Scott Horton's show. I'm sure you're familiar with him.
Yeah, I love Scott Horton.
Yeah, so he has a good interview with this guy who was in the oil industry, and he wrote a book called Israel, Winner of the 2003 Iraq Oil War.
Mm-hmm.
And what he describes is basically that Israel was buying oil from Iran through a pipeline from Iraq to Israel called the, Kirkuk to Haifa pipeline up until 96.
Okay.
And they broke ties and went into hostilities, Iran and Israel in 1993. And one of the things that Iran just struck with their rockets was Haifa and the refineries. I'm wondering how long, because like this pipeline was supposedly closed down in like the late 1930s, and they kept it a secret that they were still selling oil to Israel.
They kept a secret for 70 years?
Yeah. You got to listen to this interview with him. It's episode 6152.
Okay. I'll check it out.
And
yeah, that seems.
Yeah, it's
that seems interesting. I mean, it seems natural that Iran would strike Israel's oil, supplies just to limit them. I mean, that just seems like a natural.
Yeah, but it's all the way on like the west coast is where Haifa is, and this pipeline was decommissioned in 1948. So they went and sold oil through Iraq, where this Kirkuk place is.
Yeah.
And then it went all the way to Haifa, and they kept it a secret. And that's what the Iraq War was about, kind of destroying this and keeping it a secret.
And why do they want to keep it a secret?
Just
because they're enemies, or were there sanctions? I know there's a lot of sanctions on Iran.
Everything's always theater. And it's just kind of, when I was looking up the Iran Haifa pipeline, the first thing that came up today was the strikes on the oil refinery there in Israel.
Interesting. All right.
It's just kind of all theater.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, that is a lot of the thing. I mean, I will say, like, the American government keeps saying, Iran is weeks away from a nuke. They're 2 years away from a nuke. They've been saying it since the early 90s. Literally for the last 30 years. They've been like, they almost have a nuke. And you're like, they almost had a nuke for the last 30 years? They just constantly almost have a nuke?
Yeah, and all that stuff started in like 95, a year before they technically stopped selling them oil.
Interesting. Yeah. All right, cool. I'll check it out. Later, man.
And stop platforming anti-Semites.
Never. You can't stop.
Right,
you can't stop me, but YouTube might. All right, I'm gonna. It's 10:01. Okay, we're gonna go to the break right now. I apologize if I didn't. We only have one caller that I couldn't get to, but we have Dustin waiting. I don't want to keep him waiting. So we shall return in just a few moments with Dustin Nemos. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Oh, actually, we have a super chat. Ted says, hey, DP, big fan. What do you think of Nick Fuentes? Would you be a guest on InfoWars, The Alex Jones Show, or The War Room with Owen Schroyer sometime? Yeah, if they ask me, I'll go. Anyways, sit tight. We'll be back momentarily. Don't go no. And we're back. Thank you, everybody, for waiting patiently. I had to take a piss. Joining me today, Dustin, how do you pronounce your last name? Nemos? Nemos. Dustin Nemos, everybody. Should have figured that out, but we don't call it low-value mail for nothing. Thanks for joining me, Dustin. How's it going?
It's pretty good. Thank you for having me on.
Excellent. So tell people who you are just before we get started.
Okay, so I wear a lot of hats. I started out in 2017, entering the public spotlight, so to speak, from a past career in investment and real estate. And I started just talking about conspiracy stuff on YouTube. I blew up, kind of went viral internationally. And of course, that stopped at about 130,000 subscribers after YouTube started to censor things really badly. And they froze me for like a year. So I don't even know how many followers I have, frankly. But since then, I've expanded. I'm an author, journalist, reporter, and added onto that, I've also become a pastor, a documentary film producer, a bit of a historian, and a debater, among other things. So I wear a lot of hats. Frankly, I'm a truther. I oppose evil. I try to fight for the children out there. I stand against the Jew world order. That last guy was warning us about anti-Semites. I'm the worst of them.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you gotta watch out. So, where to show? Okay, because I actually was talking about the Israel-Iran thing. I expected to get more people calling in with opinions about that kind of thing. They didn't. I'm sure you have some. So, thoughts on that? Oh, you muted yourself. Okay, sorry. Did I mute you or did you mute yourself?
It was me. I have a habit of muting myself.
See, so unfortunately, I have this thing because this is all through Zoom, and so I can't allow, because I'll have like 10 callers, and if they can unmute themselves, then it's just pure chaos.
Sense.
These people cannot be trusted.
I'm so polite. I usually just mute myself.
No, you can't mute yourself because you can't unmute yourself, unfortunately.
Okay, got it. So what was the question? I'm sorry.
The question was Israel and Iran. Thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, at least in part, Iran is also controlled by the Jews. So it's just
really, I didn't know that.
Yeah. If you go back in their history, what was it, Nasrallah or whatever his name is? He was also a Jewish puppet, if not a crypto Jew himself. So essentially, this is just another controlled war. Like half of the stuff coming out of Israel right now, these exploding buildings and like city on fire stuff, most of it's either rehashed video from months ago, like Thomas Massey pointed out, or just downright AI video.
I have seen. Oh, well, I saw this Iran Stan account, if you will, that posted some video of like, look at the destruction, and people are like, this is not a real photo.
It was Ahmadinejad. Yeah, it was Ahmadinejad who had a Jewish past. Anyway.
Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Oh, that guy is my all-time favorite leader of Iran by far. Remember during the George Floyd riots, and he was like condemning America for their racism, and you're like, this is the funniest thing I've ever. Dude, his Twitter account used to be hilarious. He stopped tweeting. Actually, I checked today. He hasn't tweeted in like a year or something, but he used to put out some absolute bangers.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of the war, I basically think that the Jews want to force the Middle Eastern people and Muslims, Arabs to fight the Western people for the greater Israel expansion plan, or what's called hopefully I'll say it right, the Oded Yinon plan.
Okay.
It's a strategic plan for regional Israeli dominance, essentially. Michael Chusadovsky put out something from the Global Research Report in 2015 that kind of covered this, and many other people have covered this as well. But frankly, they're trying to split the Middle East up to make it more manageable, and they're trying to extinct white people. So this is a contrived war. By the way, all of the wars are contrived. Russia and Ukraine.
What do you extinct white people where?
Everywhere.
Oh, okay.
They want to take down the West and use us as a weapon and a shield. They're bombing all the babies in the Middle East, and they're hiding behind the U.S. and the West to do so. So they're trying to drag us into the war. And the end goal is to kill all the whites, destroy the West, and fracture the Middle East so that they can control everything.
The Jews are trying to kill all the whites?
The Jews, Israel, yeah, it's basically
that's not good news for white guys like us.
No, it's really not. They want to extinct us, and they've already killed probably 30% of Christians in just the last 100 years alone, and we're going extinct thanks to their pandemic and their subversive infiltrations, brother wars, etc. Our breeding women are less than 1% of the world population. We're about 7% of the world population.
Why don't whites breed better?
We're persecuted.
I don't get that.
We're basically being destroyed by everything from Jewish big pharma to Jewish porn to Jewish usury to Jewish child rape and sacrifice, which happens we just had a huge thing come out of Israel with Israel victims, Jewish victims reporting to the Knesset and talking about the satanic ritualistic sacrifice and rape of children in mass at industrial levels. This is even Jewish children have to suffer through this, but it's worse for their enemies, and they have been at white people for a long time. They've been kicked out of 109 countries over 1,030 times for eating babies, essentially.
Why do they get let back in? You're saying they get kicked out and then they get let back in?
Very good question. Yeah, in some cases it was multiple times.
I got kicked out of Canada.
I'm sure that was probably not for eating babies, right?
No, I just left, actually.
Some famous examples would be like Saint Simon of Trent or Andrei Yashinsky right before the Bolshevik Revolution. Other crimes would be basically the modern clergy plan in history, just a playbook over and over, like when the gates of Toledo, where they opened the gates of Spain and let the Muslims conquer Spain for 800 years. And it took a crusade to bring it back into Christian control. So that's essentially kind of their plan. They wrote about this.
Wait, the Jews let the Muslims into Spain?
Yes. They've been doing this over and over and over. It's
their mortal enemy, though.
They really are. Well, to be honest, the way history played out, Jews used the Roman Catholic Church to try to infiltrate Christianity. They kept killing Christians, but it wasn't working. They were growing. So then they switched to making it legal. They started basically legalizing Christianity, but only their version of Christianity. You had to do Christmas. You had to do Easter. You had to add all this Mariolatry.
Christmas
stuff.
Is Jewish?
Yeah, it's actually worshiping a dead Jew.
Oh, I guess.
Like basically Santa Claus is based on Nimrod or Baal. It's the same guy. Same symbols, different. Anyway, the whole Yule tree ritual, like a Yuletime ritual around the Christmas log and such, that's all basically a ritual to summon Nimrod. It's all pagan and satanic in origin. Kind of lost my train of thought where I was going with the other stuff, though. Anyway, so yeah, they have been ritualistically targeting Christians and trying to persecute us, destroy us for a long time. They actually wrote about this. The Bavarian government intercepted it and warned the other nations of the world, said, hey, the Jews are basically trying to infiltrate and destroy everyone. Nobody took them serious.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on how Jews are so successful at this, considering there's so few of them?
Yes. I'm the right guy to ask on that one, actually.
This
is where I get my head anti-Semite award. They are not. Jews are the descendants of the Nephilim. Some people call them Anunnaki. Some people call them, alien hybrids. Some people call them monsters or gods of old. But these things are on every temple in the ancient world. We've got the bones. We've got the genetic studies.
Aren't the Nephilim like really tall though?
They used to be. They got smaller and smaller by diluting with mankind over time. Plato whined about it. Plato was one of their secret society lackeys, and he whined about how the Atlanteans mingled too often their divine blood with mortal admixture, as he put it, and basically lost their, their godhood, their divine status. They faded out. They got smaller, but they didn't really disappear. Now they're all around us and they look human.
They're everywhere.
The Jews are the monsters.
I know. They're literally everywhere.
That's how they win. They have.
I'm in New York City. Yeah, they're
everywhere there. Yeah.
Yeah. They're out of the but so anyway, but back to the question. So how are they so successful at all this stuff?
So the
Jewish with so few of them.
The Jewish high IQ thing is a lie, but they do have access to their parents, their godparents, I guess, from the ancient times. The fallen angels of Genesis 6 created these things when they mated with human women. Those things have been getting smaller, but just as evil from the beginning. But they have access to the Satan, the fallen angels. That's why they're so successful.
Like the Jews bred with Satan?
The Jews are from Satan breeding with human women.
Gotcha. So Jews are not human.
They're not human. They used to have big brains and like elongated skulls that we find near baby sacrifice altars all over the world. When we genetically tested these things, it looks like local human with something mixed in from the Black Sea, Crimea, Khazaria region. So we can actually link all the skulls back to the Khazaria area. But essentially, these things are accessing their parents, their creators, the fallen angels. Those things are high IQ. They're 2,000 IQ. They're out to get us. They want to drag mankind to hell with them. They hate us. And that's where we're at now. That's why things are so bad. The Jewish people do not actually have a high IQ. That's a myth. Their IQ is just above African average, but with their fallen angel parents, they are the Jew world order.
Can't believe you got kicked off of YouTube.
It just doesn't make any sense, does it? A couple times.
Yeah.
I'm not good at the self-censorship. So
sure.
User
me neither. Me neither. All right. So let's okay, so I guess we covered this Iran Israel thing. So you don't think because I am of the opinion that the United States is actually using Israel. Now there might be the Jews in the United States, but
I think it's we have a lot of them here.
Sure.
But I think it's actually the Jews that run pretty much every government on earth. They still run China. They were sitting there behind Mao. They were in
Jews run China. What evidence do you have of that?
They were behind Mao. If you actually look up Chairman Mao before he killed all those Chinese people, he was surrounded by Jews. Same thing with the.
Were they Chinese Jews or were they like European Jews?
They were from like Yale and European and American Jews.
Oh, okay.
Before Yale visited with a bunch of Jews to Mao, he was nobody. He was not even known in his country. So basically, the Jews propped him up, funded him, and legitimized him. And they were 95% representation in the Bolshevik Revolution, where they starved and killed 60 million something Christians during the Holodomor War. So it's pretty much always them. Every war we've been in is them. That's why most of them are false flags.
The wars are false flags?
Oh,
so
yeah.
What do you think? And so again, what just to be clear, what do you think the premise, I guess, for these, like for this Iran Israel war, like what exactly are they trying to? Well,
Iran is not actively at war with anybody. Yes, they do proxy stuff. I get that. They say death to America. I'm not a fan of Iran, but to be honest here, like they were defending themselves. They're now defending themselves from Israeli aggression. And let's consider the context. I mean, Israel's already basically ethnically cleansed all the babies in Gaza by bombing them, raping them, killing them, shooting them in their mother's arms, and bragging about it on their television and T-shirts, etc., in their chat rooms. And they've also invaded Lebanon. They're actually on another war there. And Syria was entirely their doing. They took over Syria with proxy militants, supposedly Islamists. But as soon as they got in there, they just started killing the Christians and giving the Jews what they wanted, like the Golan Heights. They got the other half of the mountain from the Syrian, proxy army. And, now that they're breaking all these Middle Eastern countries up, they're moving for Iran, the big fish that remains. They want to destroy the Arabic world and break it into smaller, more manageable sizes. And in so doing, they want to destroy the Western people. They're going to drag us into this war. They're talking, like Zelensky talked about, America's sons and daughters going to war for their interests in Ukraine. Well, what is it happening in Ukraine? It's the same thing. It's just more of this Middle Eastern war, just not in the Middle East. We have a Bolshevik Jew from Russia, Zelensky, former actor and dancer and idiot, on TV, a puppet of a Jewish oligarch.
Crazy that his TV show was about an actor becoming the president too.
Yeah,
that is so nuts.
It's Kolomoisky, the Jewish oligarch who really runs Zelensky. He's just a puppet, but he is a Bolshevik Jew, and that's important to understand because so is Putin. And they're both basically emptying all the white people from their country as fast as they can to go die killing each other in a meat grinder that's not really meant to be won. That's the plan for the Middle East.
Wait, did you say Putin's Jewish?
Putin is Jewish on both sides. He even admitted it in his first 2 editions of his book.
Oh,
the mother and
is Trump
father.
Jewish?
Trump is Jewish. His brother.
Is anybody not Jewish?
I'm not Jewish.
Oh, okay. Me neither.
But Trump's brother admitted they're Jewish. Yeah.
Oh.
German.
Interesting.
The worst. They're the
Okay.
worst.
And again, how do the Jews have so much success with so few people with such low IQs?
Okay. So Satan was
because it doesn't. It's a hard circle to square here.
It all goes back to the Bible. Like I call it theopolitics.
The New Testament.
Well, and the Old Testament. There's no way to understand what's happening in today's world, whether it be conspiracies, the fake science, the wars, the politics, theopolitics, whatever. There's really no way to understand it without understanding the religious components, the religious agenda here. It's a religious war. It's a war between as God promised in Genesis 3:15, the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. We're still at war, all of mankind, with the Jews who are destroying and dominating us because we stopped believing in monsters. This is a quarter of the Bible. It's unavoidable. There is a non-human bloodline like Goliath, who was described not only as a giant, but who had 6 fingers, and all of his brothers, the same thing. And we found these bones all throughout the world. In fact, we even found under the Notre Dame, when Antifa burned it down, we found a cone-headed knight who had this slightly elongated skull who was entombed there. They exhumed that corpse. So there's endless evidence for this, including Pharaoh Akhenaten in Egypt, and Nefertiti, and the Paracas, Peru mummies. I mean, pretty much all over the world we find this remnant of these giants, this bloodline. Now, in Ancient Aliens, the TV show founded by Satanists, they will tell you a bunch of lies.
When you say Satanists, you mean Jews?
No, well, Satanists.
These are actual Satanists.
Yeah, and they made it. And people actually quit that show. I think David, whatever his name is, Good or whatever. David Wilcock, I think, actually quit that show because Satanists wanted him to say things that were not necessarily true. And I'm not a fan of Wilcock. But anyway, the point being, this show will lie to you and they'll tell you certain things. They'll give you the evidences genetically. They'll give you the evidences of giants. You can look up giants on the History Channel, but they will not tell you the full truth, that they're still around, but smaller as Jews, that the bloodline is still here. And they usually want to tell you that they came from aliens. They want to really push this big brother from another mother thing, from, our creators / saviors from another planet. And that's essentially a big con that's coming up. You notice that the governments of the world used to be very hush-hush about aliens, and now they're like, they won't shut up about it. They're even showing alien bodies in the Mexican Congress, like in front of the TV and everything. So like they're pushing the alien agenda now, because that's their last card to play. Just as the founder of NASA said to his assistant, who blew the whistle later, she said that he told her that the last card they would play would be the alien card. Anyway, it's not aliens. It's
so do Jews have like superpowers because they're from aliens? Like, do they have any special abilities besides obviously?
They sacrifice babies and they talk to the angels, the fallen angels. They get plans from them. They get technology. They get power. Satan,
like, it's like Facebook. Is that how he came up with Facebook?
Maybe
because he's Jewish. Zuckerberg's Jewish.
Zuckerberg is definitely Jewish and evil, and they're all getting this stuff. I mean, you got Elon Musk out there who's also Jewish, Haldeman on his mother's side, who is pushing things like brain chips and Neuralinking us to the fallen Starlink, etc. If you actually look at the symbol on the Starlink box, I've got one over there. It's a falling angel.
Wait, you use Starlink?
I use Starlink. I'm in the middle of
nowhere. What are you doing?
I don't have any other options, really.
Oh, you think that's part of what they're doing? Is they just because you have no options?
Well, I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Oh.
So, I only have satellite here.
So is it a good product?
I don't trust it at all. Especially how he wants to Neuralink us, and half the movies that they put out now are about how they activate your cell phone or your Wi-Fi to turn you into some kind of monster. So that's like in the Kingsman movie.
Yeah.
You got Samuel L. Jackson pushing the button and everybody near a phone just goes crazy. I think that they're definitely trying to poison us through our cell phones, through the radiation that comes from it. They're definitely spying on us. So
yeah, no question about that.
There, if they're even people, bad people behind that. But I do believe that Satan is God of this world, as the Bible says, and Satan communicates with his followers. He gives them power. Freemasons write about how they communicate with giant spirits robed in white at the 32nd and up level, and at the 33rd level, how they actually have a direct contact to Lucifer himself. So if you dive into this, there's actually a ton of evidence for it.
And the Starlink thing, so do you like turn it off when you're not using it?
I have it fairly blocked, fairly shielded from most of the place around here. Just kind of in my office, I'm exposed to it.
I was thinking about getting it in my old place, but then now that I hear this, I'm like.
So if you watch that Ancient Aliens show, at some point you're going to see that big rock and the lady talking about how they're not really sure what's on it. It's clearly a fallen angel symbol. It's the same symbol that's on that Starlink box. It's the same thing. They're still trying to link us to the fallen stars even today with their brain chips, Neuralink kind of stuff. I don't trust any of it. I think that the technology is being weaponized, and it has a precedent. Before the flood in Genesis 6 and on, they basically took over the world. All flesh became corrupted or, non-human, genetically modified, monster, Jewish, giant, whatever you want to call it. Anunnaki, some people call it Anunnaki from the Sumerian thing. They were trading baby's blood for technology in the pre-flood world and for power. And they wanted people to sacrifice infants to them. They want to hurt God. That's the only thing that they can do to really hurt God, because you can't hurt God. So they try to get us to sacrifice babies. That is where all the blood ritual, blood magic, blood sacrifice, adrenochrome, all of the ritualistic stuff the elite are into, from the eyes wide shut parties. It's basically all going back to ritual worship of the fallen angels and of their offspring. The symbol of the Freemasons, it's a 6-pointed star. They just took out the horizontal bars. They call it a square and compass. There's a G in the middle. It represents two things, according to 33rd degree Freemasons. It represents knowledge, or gnosis, in G. So knowledge, the gnosis of the genetics or generations. So they have the knowledge of the genetics. They're worshiping these things. On the dollar bill, it actually has a reference to a Virgil poem. That's where you get all that Novus Ordo Seclorum stuff. And in that Virgil poem, who was another occultist, they talk about the return of the golden race of men. And here's Trump the Jew promising us a golden age as they kill all the Middle Eastern babies and drag us into their wars and set us up for total destruction.
Huh. And do you want, what type of Christian are you? Like, are you kind of hoping for total destruction?
I expect we're in the end times. I mean, we have all the end times prophecy stuff, red alert, all the signs, very specific.
And so how do you think this all plays out then in terms of biblically?
I expect the world ends within 10 years and there won't be a single Jew remaining at some point before that, because the Obadiah 18 prophecy says that the whole house of Esau will be destroyed. God promised us war with them. Amalek, every generation. King David replaced King Saul because King Saul would not kill them all. And I'm not calling for anything, but this is the Bible. The Bible says that none of them will survive. Somebody has to be Amalek. Somebody has to be Edom in the Bible, the bad guys at the end, the remnant of the seed of the serpent that's constantly at war with God's people. Who is it? The white people of the West, as all of the rabbis teach. They have to destroy all of the Western white European Christians.
All of us?
They have to kill us all. That is their
no.
They have to destroy Edom for their false Messiah to come about, which is Trump. But I'm one of the few Christian pastors that say, actually, if you look at the Bible, look at the evidence, we know who Edom is. It's the Jews. God warned us about the Jews. For example,
why would God make the Jews then?
God didn't. God made a perfect world with different kinds, different species.
And then the Jews kind of got in
the
there
fallen
and
angels
mucked it up.
Well, the fallen angels came down in Genesis 6 and found the women attractive. They took bodies, they got lustful. And then they started to create monsters. They started to create mixed species, something not made in God's image. They were playing God. And these things turned cannibal. They turned evil. They turned tyrannical. And they basically became the gods of old. And that's where you get most of your myths. Most of your pagan gods are some babbled version of the same story of these giants, or Nimrod himself. Nimrod being the post-flood builder of the Tower of Babel. Nimrod is where you get Baal, Moloch, Chemosh, Marduk, Osiris, Apollo, etc. Same guy, same story, same symbols, different words. That's all.
So we have 10 years left. You're saying, when did the Jews go? At what point? And how does that happen?
Well, I don't know when. I expect it'll be in the next couple of years. It has to happen before the end. But I do know.
So all Jews dead in the next 2 years?
In the next 5 or 6, probably.
Okay, so we'll have 4 good years left. Five to 4 good years.
Well, it'd be better without them. But in terms of precedent, I mean, not only have they been kicked out of 109 countries 1,000+ times for these crimes, this time it was worldwide. This time they poisoned the whole world with the pandemic and the Operation Warp Speed or Warp the Seed vaccines and stuff, the mRNA, Mark of the Beast. This time they've bombed the Gazan babies, that they kill babies all the time throughout history. They're horrific war crimes. But this time they did it on television. They live streamed it to the whole world, and we all saw what they did. So I just suspect that, as precedent shows historically, this is going to happen again. Another eviction. It's going to happen.
But from the world.
Worldwide this time for the first time.
So 110 is just going to be planet Earth.
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
And
110 actually happened recently because a country, I forget which country, it was a small nation, banned the Jews from entering.
So Burkina Faso, I believe.
Yeah. So I couldn't even say it. Yeah. So we're moving to like 111 in terms of like regions that ban them, this time worldwide. I think it's happened 1,000 times already. In many cases, like, for example, after the Black Plague, they killed 30% of Christians in the whole world, mostly in Europe, of course, because that's where we all were. But they killed 30% of Christians with the Black Plague, which was them putting poison in Christian wells. In response, some Christians burnt hundreds of their villages with them alive in it. So we burnt them alive for their sins of trying to wipe us out. So I think it's going to happen again, just theopolitically, historical precedent included. I think it's actually a fairly easy prediction to make at this point, given how much the world hates them because of what they've done.
My audience, not big fans. Me neither.
Oh, good. They're gonna love this then.
Yeah.
Yes. The real takeaway here is that we know Jews are evil, but for the first time now we have an answer as to why they are so evil. They're not human. It was always there. God warned us about a Jewish deep state in Judges 2, how he would no longer drive out from among us those tribes that Joshua failed to leave nothing alive, which was a commandment from God. So he tells us we didn't get them all, and he's not going to drive them out of our nations anymore. He's going to use them to test us. So we actually are cursed by God himself with a Jewish deep state for failing to keep God's laws. That's where I'm not.
So God is punishing the world. God made Jews to punish everybody.
He uses them. He throws us to our enemies when we're not obedient.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so anyway, so how does that process work of getting rid of them all?
Well, I mean, in the past,
like, is it going to be like a camp situation again, or catapults or something?
We don't need camps. The camps didn't work out. Like, Hitler just wanted to basically like give them a resort stay at like the nice camps with the pianos and the daycares and the swimming pools and like all these things they had. And then he wants to buy them a country. That doesn't work. Evictions don't work. We've tried evicting them over 1,000 times.
Well, Jews are notoriously landlords, right? So you're trying to you're trying to fight fire with fire here. Right? Because they're landlords. They're the ones evicting people all the time.
Yeah, in terms of like they own most of the stuff because
exactly. Sure. So maybe that doesn't work on them.
Now they're evicting whole towns of people in like Ohio and stuff, replacing them with Haitians, kicking them out, shutting down the job offers and such, booting them from their rentals, giving it to the Haitians, etc. These Haitians are eating people's cats, raping people's grandmas. That is the kind of stuff that they do. It used to be that they would replace, smaller scale, but now they're replacing whole towns of white people in America as we speak. So this is something that has been going on a long time. It's called the Clergy Plan. It's been going as their playbook for over 1,000 years. Miscegenation was always part of their attacks since Genesis 6. But, as I said, the gates of Toledo is nothing more than what they're doing now with pushing Africans and South Americans and Muslims, et cetera, into Western European countries. It's the gates of Toledo all over again, except for it's all white countries at the same time, except Iceland. And a rabbi just showed up there. They let him in, and he's already talking about breaking Africans. I don't know why they did that, but he's already talking about importing Africans en masse.
Huh.
It's the same plan.
Yeah.
But man
but you think that we're near the end of it? We're near the end.
Yeah. Like, so the end times prophecies are specific. Like the Euphrates River is draining. It's almost dry. That is an end times prophecy. That is very specific. That's almost never happened before. It's gotten low before, but that's a very specific prophecy. Gay fish is another very specific prophecy. And suddenly they're making
there's gay fish in the Bible.
Yeah, well, in Second Esdras, which was taken out, it's another one of Prophet Ezra's books. They kept some, they took this one out because of prophecies about Christ, according to some of the church founding fathers. But anyway, in this, it says that they would basically have gay fish, and sodomitish sea was the term, but gay fish. Now we're talking about documentaries of whales having homosexual sex for the first time in history. Even the fish are being.
I don't watch that gay shit though.
I don't either, but like they're making documentaries.
Oh, I thought you said you saw it.
No, fuck that. But
that sounds gay.
But I've heard about it, and it was the prophetic click because like they're making documentaries about gay fish. Why would they do that? Why now? And when the hell did that start happening? So, you know, Alex Jones famously said they're making the freaking frogs gay, and I think he is a gay frog now.
Is he Jewish?
He said, quote, "I'm Jewish," in the quote. So yeah, he's probably Jewish. His family's Jewish. He works for the Jews. He won't name the Jews at all. I call him Never Jew Jones, but I think he's basically a gay frog. I mean, he's into tranny porn and staring at Blair White's breasts, which aren't real. Anyway, yeah, Blair White's a dude dressed like a woman. So
hot woman. I mean,
yeah, well, Alex certainly thinks so.
Yeah, not me.
Another another very specific prophecy is it's a prophecy of women giving birth to preterm births, 3 months old, 3 months from conception, 6 months too soon, living outside of the womb. Only modern science in the last decade has allowed that to be possible. Usually those babies would die, but now we can keep them alive outside of the womb. That's another specific end times prophecy.
And who invented that technology?
I don't know, but it's here now, and that's, I mean, you can't get more specific than that in terms of like stuff. So a lot of people think prophecy is mumbo jumbo. I've studied it. It's accurate every single time.
What kind of predictions have they made like that have already come true? Sorry, okay, I'm not very up to date on my Bible knowledge is limited.
You're good. I'm going to give you some examples here. Let me pull it up on my website. I have a website that covers everything, basically from the science, the history, the politics, all of it. I'll give you some examples. I got too many posts on prophecy. There we go.
Okay.
So in the Bible, it says, "Thy word is true from the beginning." It talks about how God could predict the future, and he tells the end from the beginning. So some of the specific prophecies would be like Petra, mentioned in prophecy, that was already completed. Babylon, mentioned in prophecy, that was completed. Tyre, for example.
Any recent ones?
Well, there's all the end time stuff is basically happening like right now, like the mark of the beast, the son of perdition, the Antichrist. That's Trump, king of I call him Vax Daddy, King Jew, Trojan Trump. All of that stuff.
So were you at the No Kings protests?
No.
You didn't do that, but you do think he's a king.
That's a psyop. I think he's been crowned by the Jews. He's got a crown that the Jews gave him with like 150 rabbis present. So yeah, he's a king of the Jews, not of America. He wants to destroy America and the West for the Jews, which is where you get the mark of the beast or Operation Warp Speed. I call it Warp the Seed. The 70 weeks prophecy of Daniel, I could just keep going down the list, but half the prophecies in the Bible, at least, are already completed. And many of them were very specific. Many of them were predicted hundreds or thousands of years before that they happened. Daniel's prophecies are so specific and happened so in sync with human history that modern atheist scholars insist that it must have happened after the fact. It must have been written after the fact. They're just faking prophecy. But specifically talking about, like, if you've read it, the golden head statue with the silver chest and the bronze like legs and iron feet, etc. That prophecy is basically talking about the secession of kingdoms, secession of empires, world empires. Talks about Rome, talks about Greece, talks about Persia, etc. And those major empires, just as Daniel said, before it happened, seceded each other precisely. And we also know that it was written before it happened because the Dead Sea Scrolls included copies of Daniel that were ancient. So that's just one of the very...
Was that written in Hebrew, though?
Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek.
Oh. So how do you know that it's true, though, if the Jews wrote this stuff?
The Jews didn't write the Bible.
Oh.
They just tell everybody they did. They're not God's chosen people. They're not the Judahites of the Bible. They didn't write the Bible. There's no evidence for that. They don't look like the people in the Bible. They don't fulfill any of the prophecies, like spreading the word of God to the world. They're just basically the people who took God's name out, Yahweh, and replaced it with Baal in English, the Lord.
Gotcha.
At the same time, they put the word Jew into the Bible, which is a lie. They're the name stealers, and they have stolen European identities. The true Hebrew Israelites of the Bible were all white men. Jesus was a white man.
Wait, so all the black dudes at Times Square near me, none of them are Jewish?
No, they're wrong.
Really? They insist that they're the real Jews.
They even dress up in colors and such, but I
wrecked they have cool uniforms.
Yeah, they do. And I like how they yell at the Jews, but no, I wrecked one of their best leaders. He actually did the documentary that got Kyrie Irving fired from the NBA. He did.
Oh, yeah.
Hebrews to Negroes.
Hebrews to Negroes. I watched it. That was a tough watch.
He ran away, dude. He actually ran away after I wrecked him so badly in that debate. It was embarrassing to watch.
Yeah. That was not a well done.
So
from just a film perspective, that was very poorly put together.
So
do you remember when they were selling it when it popped off, and then they upped the price of it to it was like $80 on Amazon or something? That's how you know they are the true Jews.
That's some Stu Peters bullshit.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you have the Jews pretending to be God's chosen with no evidence. You have the blacks saying we was kangs with no evidence except Wakanda. And now you have all of the evidence, including the Bible descriptions, the prophecies, the archaeology, the anthropology, the genetics, all of the sciences basically confirm the white European peoples are the actual lost tribes of Israel. And the people of Jesus, the people of Judah, the tribe of Judah became the Irish and Scottish people. Just look at the Declaration of Arbroath, for example. They actually admit that they were exiled from Israel, came through Greater Scythia and Saxons, and then became the Irish and Scottish peoples. So we have tons of evidence, and the Jews have none. But people just trust the Jews when it comes to writing the Bible.
Why?
Hate the Bible.
Why would anybody trust the Jews?
Rockefeller-funded seminaries are teaching the pastors to teach that Jews are God's chosen. They teach dispensationalism. They split things up. They break the Bible apart, and they divide and conquer it with this Old and New Testament stuff. It's actually just one book of witnesses, one collection of books, one library, one codex. And they're all still relevant. There's still end times prophecies that haven't happened in the Old Testament. It talks about the origin of Jews, etc. And it tells you about the fights, the wars, the anthropological people movements and exiles, etc. That's the history, that's the law, that's the moral code. And then the New Testament is basically Jesus reminding us, follow the law. He didn't do away with it. He actually died to bring it back. All of the apostles kept and taught the law, just like Christ did. And then also Jesus warned us about a people that he kept calling the synagogue of Satan, a generation or genetics of vipers. He said to them, where I go, you cannot follow. He said to them, how can you escape the damnation of hell? He called them tares amidst the wheat. And he actually told us point blank in John 8:33-44, that they're not the true Hebrew Israelites. They were never enslaved in Egypt, but they do come from Abraham. That tells you exactly in the Bible who they are. It's Abraham's other branch, the one that mixed with the Nephilim, mixed with the monsters. And for those who are Bible
Where'd the monsters come from?
Space? So the fallen angels mating with human women before the flood. Gotcha. That bloodline continued. That's where you get, after the flood, you get Goliath, you get the sons of Anak, and we look like grasshoppers in their sight, etc. So
do you think the reason why they don't allow 23andMe's in Israel is because if they tested their genetics that they would be like they're not human?
Yeah, there's a genetic marker. We can tell if you test their genetics. You can test you can send a frog in and it'll come back Ashkenazi.
A frog is Ashkenazi Jewish?
Yeah. Send in reptile DNA and see what happens.
Interesting. So you're just basically saying the genetic testing's all faulty.
Well,
but if you tested a Jew, it wouldn't come back as not human. It's all faulty.
They don't want you to know to look for this, because if geneticists start looking for anomalies, they will find it.
And there's no like base geneticists who are like, hey, we kind of, or do the Jews kind of get rid of them?
Well, we have the genetic tests. You don't have any like specific geneticists out there leading the charge saying like it's all of the Jews, they're demons. That's kind of my position right now. I think I'm the only one doing it. But we have plenty of people.
You're selling me on it, though. I'm telling you.
Well, we all know they're evil.
The problem is I'm like in the entertainment industry. You know who runs that?
Yeah. You don't want to joke about this. I mean, I'll try to.
It's actually the Muslims, but no, anyway. That was just a joke.
Yeah, we know who runs Hollywood and everything.
Yeah,
it's always them. Every single time, it's them. They're evil.
Every time.
And now we have an answer.
And why do they sacrifice babies? Why do they do that?
They really hate God. They want to hurt him. And God is the closest thing to God on this planet is an innocent child. And it says in the Bible repeatedly, don't hurt kids. It's better that a millstone be tied around their neck and they be thrown in the ocean than to harm a child, etc. Of course, in the Talmud, it says it's okay to rape or sacrifice children. And the Jews are the people of the Talmud. They have never kept the Bible. They've never kept the Torah, Old Testament laws of Moses. They hate it.
What do you think of this business idea? Toilet paper that has the Talmud written on it.
I love it, but they might kill you for it. They write in the Talmud.
They run all the paper mills too, so that probably would be tough. Yeah. Of course, do you believe in free will?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like not everything is predetermined. Because I know some Christians are like everything's predetermined.
The story is
everything's God's will.
The story is wrote. It's already the end was spoken from the beginning, but we get to choose free will where we are in that story.
But like a baby that's being sacrificed, so their story is just written. You're going to be born and just be sacrificed to a Jew.
God does not protect those who break the law. And that's where a lot of Christians go astray. A lot of atheists keep pointing out, well, if God's so good, why does all this evil happen in the world? Well, it's simple. God told us, follow his rules, the same rules Christ died to bring back, or the Jews are going to get you, essentially.
Yeah. But like, does the baby, like, is it because their parents broke the rules and so he's punishing the baby? Because like, obviously, I don't think a baby could break the rules.
It all goes back to the blood. So Adam and Eve sinned, therefore every human ever born from their blood or genetics has sin.
Especially the Jews.
Yeah, well, yeah, they've added plenty of their own. And we all add our own. But epigenetically, we can show like a murder will scar your DNA. You'll pass it to your child who's never murdered anyone, but they'll have the murder DNA. They'll have the murder scar on their genetics. And that's epigenetics. So it's actually nurture and nature. That's the kind of the answer to the age-old question in genetics. Is it nurture or nature? It's both. Epigenetics prove that. And epigenetically, we can prove God's curses and blessings. And God says he curses those who hate him or don't follow his rules to the third and fourth generation. So presumably your sin will pass on to your children, your grandchildren, and their children. However, obedience blesses your generations, 1,000 generations. So obedience not only heals
Can
your
you
DNA,
undo stuff? Like if you have some of that like murderer gene in you, but then you're really good, can you kind of cancel it out? Or is that just a scar for life?
That's where Christ comes in, I believe. Now, I don't have the genetics to prove that, my thesis on that yet. So we're in like new scientific territory. It's kind of undiscovered stuff here. So we know that the sins pass to the children. We don't know if the obedience will break that sin off of the child's genetics or not.
Yeah.
Presumably it will. At the very least, it would shut it down from expressing itself.
Interesting. All right. The phone lines are open, everybody. 1-888-949-2969. We got, let's take a call here. I'm sure we're going to get some calls. This first caller, he's actually Jewish, so don't hold it against him.
I will.
But he is a Jew. So do with that what you would like. Yeah. Slav, are you there?
Not going to agree with me.
Hey, Danny.
Yeah, what's up?
Real convenient for you to say whites like us.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
You're Jewish yourself.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
This guy's a Jew. Don't listen to him. This guy's literally Jewish. This guy's literally Jewish. Like, I don't know why you say that.
You literally stomped on the glass, Danny.
I have no idea. Where's my kippah then? This guy's literally Jewish.
You gotta listen.
Anyways, do you have a question, Jew?
I mean, keep on with the slander, but so what is it? How do you feel about like everyone starting to with this whole great noticing? How like quickly people realize, oh, everything that was in the books wasn't real, and then it just gets wiped under the rug. Like for instance, with like Hitler in Argentina, like all of a sudden people just forgot. Like it came out for like a few weeks. People were talking about it, but nothing has changed in the books. And now, like the same thing with the summer camps and the fact that, Danny is a Jew.
That's not true. I don't know why you keep saying that.
I mean, if you think fake news is bad, wait until you see history.
This guy's such a lying Jew. It's crazy. Calls it every week.
Yeah.
Just lies. I don't know why he does it, but
I mean, Hitler was also controlled opposition Jew. He ordered the young white kids to go to the front lines in a brother war to kill other Christians, and he retired to Argentina. So yeah, I mean, it's all a lie, and they have basically been controlling us with Trump or Hitler, like strongmen, savior figures for a long time, and using them to destroy us. It's part of the playbook.
Interesting. I don't
Right.
like it.
So when do we start like eliminating this threat? Starting with Danny.
Huh? Interesting choice of words.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm not calling for violence.
When do you and me and Dustin get rid of you?
I believe that it will happen. I believe every Jew on earth will die. I think.
Sorry, Slav. Bad news for you.
Sorry
to
for your wife, bro.
According to the Bible, not a single Edomite survives a worldwide revolution led by the white people. That's basically what the Bible predicts.
The Bible says specifically the white people?
Yeah, in Obadiah.
What happens to the blacks and the Asians and stuff?
Well, there's Jews in Asia, there's Jews in China, there's Jews in Africa. I presume that they will follow the white man's lead on this, and they will also throw off their oppressors at the same time, because otherwise it's not going to be total worldwide destruction of the entire species. It has to be worldwide, or you can't get them all.
No.
So we're going to dig them up out of their tunnels. We're going to flood their tunnels, whatever we got to do, but we will find them all, and we will get them all.
Start in Brooklyn.
Yep.
That's
Tunnel
where they
Gate.
yeah.
You're a good one. You're a good one. You tell about Tunnel Gate.
Oh, yeah.
Most will not touch that topic. So there's
really? That was like my favorite story of last year.
Yeah. And I was one of the people who helped break that. And they're still doing it to this day. They're still eating babies. They're still sacrificing and raping babies. They're still doing the blood sacrifice rituals.
Do they cook them when they eat them? Or do they eat them?
So they used to, historically, like in the Bible days, they would pass them through the fires of Moloch or Baal. They would put them up on the hands or Baal statue. We've actually got a video of this from Chicago where they did
You have a video of them cooking babies?
Yes.
Where?
It's called the Spirit of a People. It was like a ritual ceremony they did, kind of like a parade.
Like a real baby?
Well, we don't know. It certainly
These people are sick.
Looked like a baby. They had the full Baal statue with the flame. They threw something that was baby looking, swaddled in clothing, into that fire. Maybe it was a fake because they were on television doing it. But this is what they do.
But they run the television, so they're probably just like they can do whatever they want.
So you get it all, like all these evil halftime shows at the Super Bowls and stuff. It's all them. But in terms of like cooking the babies, that's where you get the word cannibal from. The Canaanite priests of Baal would cook and eat the babies by throwing them to Baal. They would eat the leftovers, the flesh of the children. And this is...
They also use their blood to make their bread. That challah bread, it's made with Christian child blood.
Is that why it tastes so good?
They rub it on their bodies as well. And the rabbis like desiccate the blood, dry it out, and sell it basically as a curative for other Jews.
Like a powder kind of thing?
We caught one Jew on Craigslist selling thousands of foreskins fried like onion rings.
What? What do those go for?
I don't know. I don't
How much were they charging?
They were doing it, and they have access to all the baby foreskins because they have that Metza Bipeh thing or whatever.
Yeah. And they fry them?
Basically bite off baby penis, and
it's like calamari.
Ew.
It's all real. I mean, the human sacrifice, the baby eating, that gets into the worst of the worst, but like every evil of today, from CRT to George Floyd to BLM, it's Antifa, it's all them every single time.
Yeah. Just like this caller. Anything else there, Slav?
I mean, hey, pray for your wife, Danny.
All right. Pray for my life. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, Slav, everybody. He's Jewish. We're not talking to him anymore.
Noticing. Yeah, it will not be stopped.
No, the noticing will continue until morale improves. Let's talk to Rube Star. Weird question. Do you drink your own piss? Because Rube does. Okay. Rube, are you there?
But those astronauts supposedly go to space do.
What's up, Rube? How you doing?
This guy's a trip.
Thank you.
Dustin, I'm kind of an amateur astrologer. Would you mind telling me your birthday? That's not too personal.
It's in April. I don't want to be too specific because I have a lot of enemies, as you can imagine.
Sure.
All right. Well, now I was just curious.
I'm in.
What about your year?
They call me an Aries, but you know, I'm
okay.
Yeah, we're probably around the same age, I guess. Sometime in the late 70s to early 80s, I would guess.
I was born in 87.
Really? Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Man, this noticing is
okay.
Maybe it's the beard. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is I was clean cut. After
I was going to say actually because I saw a photo of you and you look a lot different actually.
That was my before Jews picture.
Oh, gotcha.
This is my
See,
after
look what they do.
I know. I mean, I turned into End Times Gandalf after basically learning about them.
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead, Rube.
Well, Yeah, well, first of all, you can't possibly think all Jews are bad.
Yeah, I think it's genetic. All of their ancestors, in my opinion, and I think we can make a very good case, were six-fingered giant cannibal demons that God and Jesus hated.
See, look, he called me a Jew. Look how many fingers I have.
Well,
look at that. Hold on.
It's rare now. You don't
proof I'm not Jewish.
You don't see that often, the six-finger thing anymore, but you can still look up like celebrities with six
If
fingers.
you see somebody who has 6 fingers, are they for sure Jewish?
That's a good sign they're a demon. Yeah.
Interesting. Because there used to be this Chinese man at my grocery store, and he had a thumb that grew on the side of his thumb. It was like a second thumb. So was he Jewish?
I think
Probably?
they call it polydactyl or something. But
but he was probably Jewish. Chinese Jewish.
The odds are very high. They come in different colors and races because they've mixed with other groups. But if you see a six-fingered creature, that I don't think it's human. We have precedent.
I think they amputate them early at birth.
This guy had the thumb, though. He had a thumb on his thumb.
Usually they will get rid of it. Many celebrities bragged about how they were born with working extra digits and got rid of it.
Well, on that topic, I remember listening to Howard Stern one time, and I want to say he was talking about Bill O'Reilly, said something about his dad was born with the tail, and Howard said something like his dad was born with the tail.
Not a surprise.
O'Reilly sounds Jewish.
Yeah, well, don't quote me on this 100%, but somewhere in the Stern family, somebody had a tail or something, a little extra something in the back, I guess. If that's even a true story.
The deeper you go, the more evidence you find.
And I had a black cashier at a grocery store one time. Her hands were like bird claws. There was 3 of them. It was hard to explain, but she had
3 hands
claws.
or 3 fingers?
No, 3 fingers, like a thumb, and the other 2 fingers were like merged together, and she didn't have really a palm. The split went real. And I wish I had asked her if her feet were like that. It was so shocking to see.
I wonder if that's what was that stuff they used to give women in like the 60s for like
I think it's in India. It's more common.
Jews poison us.
There's parts of the
Jews poison us.
There's
all the time.
And are you familiar with Anatoly Fomenko's New Chronology?
No, although I'm working on my own. So,
well, he's a Russian mathematician, and he figured this out in the 70s. He's got countless books, but it's basically if you use the eclipses, the moon's nodes, you could look at horoscopes from the past, like from Egyptian temples and all these other relics where they have a horoscope on the tomb, and you could find out the exact year, using computer formulas. So basically, he said he identified who Jesus really was and where he was born and what the Grail is, but also that there's 1,000 years added to our timeline. We're really in the year, it would be 1025 since his death.
Well, they have been
really interesting.
Yeah, I can show you they've been tinkering with time because in the Jewish Masoretic versions of the Bible, which are where you get most English Bibles today, they basically deleted most of the lifespan from the patriarchs in the Old Testament, like Genesis. They just got rid of a lot of their lifespan, made them like 100-something years old instead. And that gets rid of almost 1,000 years right there. So they've been tinkering with time for a long time. They've added a day to our calendar to throw off everything. We can't keep Sabbaths and the feast days like we were supposed to anymore unless we know how to adjust for that. So there's a lot of them tinkering with time. They changed our calendars to, the Gregorian calendar based on the Gregorian, was it the Pope or Emperor or whatever of Rome? And also Gregory means watcher, another term for fallen angels. So it's just, it all goes back to this, everything. Once you start seeing, for example, the symbolism, there's a 6-pointed star everywhere from Khazaria to the modern Jews to Walmart to the Freemasons. It's everywhere. And it represents the union of the fallen angels, the triangle at the top, the triangle at the bottom. They represent the phallic symbol, the penis, the sword or whatever. And then also the chalice represents the bowl or the vagina or the womb. Together, they represent the sexual union of the fallen angels, creating, just like the Freemasons put that G in the middle, the gnosis of the generations, the gnosis of the genetics, the knowledge of the genes.
Yeah, the G spot.
Well, yeah, they're worshiping these things. Every pagan religion and all the secret societies all worship dead Jews, basically.
And butt stuff, like the G spot.
Well, one thing you might find of interest with Anatoly Fomenko's research is
I've heard of him.
He says the New Testament. The New Testament should come first, and the Old Testament actually happened afterwards, and that the Jews were pretty much invented in the 1400s.
Yeah, the word Jew.
Don't quote me on this. Don't quote me on this exactly, but he said they were needed for the merchants, the money handlers, and that they're really not as old as they claim to be.
Yeah, the word Jew was added like 1400 years after Jesus. Like the word Jew is not a Bible word, and it actually mixes a people, the Judahites, and a multicultural region, country, Judea, which was merged between Judah and Idumea into Judea. So you had two different groups. You had the literal children of Satan, which Christ was calling out constantly as infiltrators. And then you had the people of Christ himself, the Judahites, all living in one country calling themselves Judeans. That's where you get the word Jew from. You can't mix a family name and a country that's filled with different families into one new word. That doesn't make any sense. It was identity theft. It was a false interpretation. It was intentional.
Do you get down with flat Earth?
I call it biblical Earth, but yeah, I'm one of the top. I may be the top debater in the world about that. I don't know.
Okay.
Witsit, I don't trust him anymore. He used to be.
Who?
So one of our top debaters used to be Witsit, the guy called Witsit Gets It, but he's proven to be controlled opposition. He cannot be trusted. He's a smart guy, but in terms of like,
how'd you find out he's controlled opposition?
They tried to basically debunk flat Earth with a mostly NASA-funded psyop in Antarctica. Yeah.
That was the guy who went down to Antarctica, and then he's just like, I guess the Earth's not flat.
Yeah. I was telling Danny about this. I called Alex Stein a shill on the air because of that, because he said that that was real.
And Stein, what do you think of that?
Stein, yeah. So I was actually. There were smaller channels other than mine that helped, but I was the guy who basically backed NASA down on that topic. I documented everything they did. I showed all the lies. I actually showed a competing experiment where another group went down there, did not forget their equipment, and actually proved a firmament. So it seems to be that they're trying their best to slow down flat Earth. And the guy who actually started that whole thing, he actually organized the whole trip. He admitted that it was to stop Christians and biblical Earth from taking over the flat Earth community. They were terrified of this kind of going mainstream and proving God is real to the masses.
Interesting.
I'm a big fan of Eric Dubé myself.
Eric's a good guy. I think he does good work. I mean, I think he needs to stop with that bashing of Christianity, but I honor him for his work in that field. He's a good expert on it. But in terms of debating I come in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else there, Rube?
That's it. Love, peace, and hair grease.
Later. Rube,
thank you,
everybody.
brother. I might need some.
From Rube, let's go to Goob. I'm not sure if Goob's Jewish or not. He might be, though. Goob, are you there?
Yeah, what's up, Danny?
How's it going?
Pretty good, man. So, I had a question for the caller because I'm into ancient history and I've been listening closely to this. And do you believe that the Jews built all of the ancient megaliths around the world?
When they were giants, long ago, before the flood, mostly. Some of it was post-flood, but mostly the megalithic structures were pre-flood. And now, interestingly, they're trying to keep us out of all of them and shut them down as World Heritage Sites under UNESCO or the World Economic Forum or whatever. They don't.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is if they built all those beautiful things, like why are they trying to hide them and stuff now?
All proof of a flood. It's all proof of the Bible, and it's all proof against the giants. So they don't want you to know about these topics. They really, if you have to learn about it, you need to go with they want you to go with the ancient aliens route. They want you to think aliens put those hybrids here, mated with humans or mingled with human DNA or created gold mining slaves or something like the Sumerian myth, Enlil and Enki and all that crap. They want you to believe anything but the Bible. So when it comes to like proving the Bible, I mean, we have every evidence available. They like to say that science killed God, but God laughs at them using all of the sciences. And we have evidences all over the world for the flood, worldwide flood, including everybody's genetics, every cell on Earth, every human person, period. We all know that we came from one woman 6,000 years ago through three men that survived everybody else dying. The three sons of Noah repopulated all of human Earth. So, not the animals, but every human, including every Jew, because they also come through that line through Ham. Every humanoid on Earth basically came from one of the three sons of Noah. And if you test your genetics, you can go and have them look this up and see and find out which one you come from. Basically, it's in the chromosomes.
I thought I don't trust the DNA tests,
Yeah, they can't even tell us the Jews aren't human. They're obviously compromised.
Yeah.
Well, they don't want you to use them against the Jews. And we've caught these companies lying and inserting African DNA or Jewish DNA into white people or something like that. I don't trust the DNA companies, but
like physically inserting DNA into somebody else's DNA.
Yeah, trying to trick people, saying that they're part African.
Oh,
they push they call it out of Africa. They try to push that we all came from this monkey woman, mitochondrial Eve, millions of years ago, and that's a lie. We have millions of monkey bones, millions of man bones, no man monkey bones ever. They have to make that crap out of clay because it's fake. There is no missing link. Even Darwin admitted that destroys evolution. There is no such thing as evolution. We've been here for 6,000 years, not any longer than that. And in fact,
is the Earth 6,000 years old?
Yeah. The evolutionists panicked when this came out. Something called the advanced mtDNA mutation rates proved that we all come from Eve 6,000 years ago. So they panicked, and they actually had articles that said things like "Don't panic" in the headline,
which causes people to panic.
The flood was around 3,500 BC. Sorry, Danny, what?
No, I was just, don't worry about it. So the flood was around 3,500 BC. So
yeah,
so 5,500 years ago.
Yep, roughly.
How many people were on Earth before the flood happened? Couldn't have been a lot.
There were 10 empires, including Atlantis, Tartaria, Lemuria, etc. I don't know how populated they were, but I know they were populated with non-humans.
Interesting.
We find a lot of giant bones, though.
Yeah.
And the biggest giant.
Where can we see these giant? Callers. All right, thanks, Goob. Where can we see these giant bones?
Yeah, thanks for answering my questions.
So if they're found in America or the West, they tend to disappear quickly. At places like the Smithsonian, they get rid of them. But we do have tons of bones in other museums, and including experts who've dug them up and had them genetically tested in places like the Paracas, Peru area. Like Peru is a little bit less, strict, and they don't just disappear things immediately because they're not as big and controlled by the Jews. But if you go look up channels like L.A. Marzulli or Brian Forrester or Steve Quayle, they'll show you the bones. They'll show you the genetics. They'll show you where they pull the bones out of. They'll show you the megalithic structures that we still can't build today. We can't match these cities that they built. We find them under the mud. We find them under the ocean all over the place. Pyramids under the ocean off the coast of Japan with like sphinxes and stuff under there. We have Heraklion, for example, an ancient city completely underwater. It's all over the world, and all of that's from the flood. So it all goes back. Science all goes back to proving God is real. And once you realize God is real, you might be looking at his word, which talks about how these monsters that sacrifice babies are infiltrating us and trying to lead us against God.
Just don't get why he would make the Jews then.
Well, he didn't make the Jews. The fallen angels had free will too, just like we do. God loves us, and in order to love him back,
why doesn't God get rid of the fallen angels?
He imprisoned them for their crime of committing, basically creating the Jews. They created the Jews, and God wiped them out in the flood, basically. But because of Ham's sin and his wife being of that bloodline, after the flood, they come back. That's where you get the Canaan, Goliath, and sons of Og, sons of Anak, or King Og of Bashan, etc. All these are giants in the post-flood world, and God told us to kill them all.
Are you a pastor in person?
He said, "Leave nothing alive." That's a quote.
Do you have like a physical church?
No, my church is too big for a physical building, and I would probably get killed anyway. God willing, I won't. But I run uncensored.church.
Okay, and people can kind of like. Do you do like Sunday services where people can kind of just do it online?
Yeah, we do Saturday nights. We do a live chat and we talk about it stuff, and we do sermons and Q&As, and I've got an extensive catalog of documentaries, and I've got the whole archive of hidden history and all the science and Bible and all the politics, all the conspiracy, everything. It goes back to the Bible.
Interesting.
It all. Yeah.
All right, let's take another call here. We got Billy from Philly. Hopefully unmutes himself.
Danny.
Billy, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, you handsome devil?
Hello. How are you?
Good. Hey, I have a niece that was born with an extra thumb, like you were talking about that Chinese dude.
Yeah.
My niece, and her dad's Ashkenazi, Ukrainian Jew.
There you go.
Still happens. They really are monsters. They're really not human. But
now, I imagine you're against abortion. Would you consider it for a circumstance like that?
I don't think so. And if I were to go, I would go back to the Bible.
Even though you're getting rid of a Jew? Or
Yeah,
is it just like no point now because there's so many that like we could just get rid of them all at once?
I would understand why someone would do that. Like say if a Jew or a monster raped them, I would understand it, but I think that it's still like, it's not in line with Christian ethics.
Yeah.
In the Bible, when people took a Jewish wife and had children with them, a prophet actually told them to get rid of them, put them off, and force them to exile those children and those wives. I think that's the right way to do it in that case.
Interesting. That's interesting, Bill. So you got any questions? Any other, or just a little anecdote?
Yeah.
How's your? This is what, your niece, your cousin?
My niece, my sister's daughter.
How old is she now?
And she just turned 16, but she's like 6'1". Her dad's like 6'8".
Whoa.
And she's a friggin' giant.
Huh. Well, I'm sure. Oh, he muted himself
Yeah,
again. Hold on a second. Sorry. So she's a giant. So she's one of the Nephilim, basically.
She's a Goliath. Huh?
Her dad's 6'8", and she's already over 6 foot at 16.
Interesting.
So
yeah.
Okay, let me ask you.
It's just more right all the time.
The other thing I wanted to ask, and it might be obvious, but why do like Jewish they start everything at sundown, and the Muslims at sundown? Is it because they're I know they're moon worshipers, but is that toward the demon, like worshiping the moon? Is that part of demonology, or?
No, not necessarily. There are moon worshiping cults that are evil. There are sun worshiping cults like Baal, the sun god, etc., that are evil. But the Bible gives us the reason for the sun, moon, and stars as obviously for light to rule the day and the night, but also for signs and for seasons, for keeping the feast days, for keeping the Sabbaths and stuff. So in the Bible, you would keep dusk to dusk for a full day of Sabbath, or for feast days, you would keep that 24-hour period from dusk to dusk. So they copy the Bible, they use it, and then they invert it. And that's kind of where all this stuff comes from. I mean, women across the world cover their head because of the angels, end quote. In the Bible, it says that. So that's where we get all of the head coverings, from nuns to Muslims and such. But Christians have forgotten because of rapey angels, essentially.
Oh, that's interesting.
Huh.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you get to some other callers.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Billy. Good talking to you, man.
Adios.
Later.
Labor.
Are there any Jews you like?
I mean, there's some I mind less.
Like, what about like Sandler?
Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
He's funny, but I'm pretty sure he's like pro Gaza genocide and a bunch of other bad political positions because he's a Jew.
Right.
I'm sure he would think that they're God's chosen.
What if you had to rank your top 3 Jews? Kind of plug your nose and just rank them.
I mean, I like Flat Earth Dave. He's a funny
he was on the show. Flat Earth Dave's been on the show before.
I like him. I want to think he's a good Jew. He was part of. He was pushing that fake 24-hour sun experiment crap down in Antarctica. So I don't trust him. But I mean, he's been on my show. I've been on his show. I like him. He's a personable guy. So Jews.
Do you think that's like some sort of deception, though? That he's like,
yeah,
it's like a trick from kind of to get you to like him.
Yeah, and even if they're not consciously evil, then they're subconsciously pro-lies in some way. Like he's pushing outer space in a different way. He's pushing the lands beyond Antarctica. There's no evidence for that. It's just a different type of outer space. It just still allows for aliens to be our creators. That's what they're pushing now. It's called panspermia. They know evolution is dead, so they're now pushing that aliens made us.
Huh.
Who made the alien?
But then the aliens made the Jews though. So then you'd be like related to the Jews if that was true.
Yeah, so if they're
doesn't really make sense.
If they're alien hybrids or if they're Nephilim hybrids, either way they're evil.
Yeah, seems kind of stupid. All right, let's take another caller here. This is
movies like Prometheus are pushing this nonstop.
Hello,
sure. Hello, you're on Low Value Mail. Who am I speaking with?
Your boy from Quebec.
Hey, what's up, buddy? He's a Canadian.
Okay.
Don't hold it against them. They suck.
It's going to be I really thought Quebec was going to be the bad boy, but the COVID really made me go like, oh no, Quebec's all.
Although you guys are cracking down on immigration there, it seems like.
If you speak French, you can come in.
Yeah. No,
that's
thank you.
the rule of thumb. Any French colony gets like a +1 for immigration.
Yeah, even the Haitians. They kind of speak French.
Oh yeah, we have a huge Haitian immigration. Anyways, no, you're getting me distracted from the Jew guy.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, we do have a large Haitian immigration thing, and it's not bad. But it's like there's a lot of French colonies are like you get like +1. Like it's probably easier to be a Haitian going into Quebec than it is an American, unless you have a lot of money.
Yeah,
you got to offer all the Haitians euthanasia with a headache, like Canada does.
All right, so I've been listening since our boy when you guys started talking about the what was it called? Refried what is it called?
Foreskins?
The octopuses. Yeah, octopus calamari.
Foreskins.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So to me, I'm getting high Chinese vibes from it. I'm getting some Wuju grind up white albino rhino horn so my dick gets hard.
Yeah. So some sort of weird. Yeah. Like how the tiger penis.
I don't think it's. I think it's like a part of a sect, but I don't know. That's up to you to determine because you're a part of the culture.
It's disgusting, regardless.
Even certain Jewish
I
admit it that they engage.
Well, no, I agree. Hey man, I watch a bunch of Chinese shit, man. Their whole entire motto is if it fucking walks or crawls, they'll eat it.
Yeah, preferably if it's walking and crawling while they eat it.
This is just one of the many.
Even then, that's
what is it? What is that book there, Dustin?
I hate that.
It was originally written in French, but its English title is Blood Passover from Ariel Toath, renowned Jewish scholar who admitted that they engage in blood sacrifice of children.
Yeah. Huh.
All right, so it'd be like the Passover or something, or the bubble pop. It would be.
You got a couple pops there tonight, Beau?
It would be the blood of the person in the past.
Yeah.
Hey, one good thing about Quebec, I speak like I come from the fucking 1800s.
Yeah.
Also, he didn't say. He said, "Best of luck with your wife."
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Not with your life.
Oh, I thought he said. Oh,
he kept saying your wife was a Jew.
Yeah. I caught it. I wrote it again.
I wouldn't. I mean, if she is, we're getting divorced, so that'll be news.
That'll
be news to me.
Put her off.
Just give her the old pile driver. I'll give you genetic trauma for Jews if you want to go with the whole entire. Because you're kind of going with a genetic thing and like the 6 fingers and everything. And people keep talking about this genetic trauma stuff, like, oh, something happened 400 years ago, and now my DNA, I'm scared of snakes, which I kind of get, but like, come on.
Yeah,
also
their parents were snakes, basically.
Also, side note, the Wandering Jew, I know it's propaganda from Hitler, but it's a pretty sick photo. Like, I know if it was less propaganda, it looks like a New York Times thing. Like, it's supposed to be insulting. But That's my personal impression.
Okay.
Also, have you heard the man on the left? Have you heard of the Japanese guys? The Japanese guy that talks about Jews versus Jewish, like being a Jew genetically versus Jewish the faith, and how Jews fear the Japanese.
Well, so I don't know. I don't know that guy you're talking about, but like I don't consider a black Ethiopian who converts to Judaism to be an ethnic Jew monster. That's different. But they don't really take.
Now, will they be spared? Seriously. Will converts be spared?
No, they actually got caught in Israel sterilizing
them,
Ethiopian Jews. So they don't care about any other human, even if you convert to their religion and deny Christ with them.
But I'm saying, like, when, like, the kind of for the end of times prophecy stuff, when they get rid of the Jews, will the converts be spared? Like, say you were born a Christian and then you converted, do you get spared?
I imagine that those who deny Christ and blaspheme him with the Jews will also be punished.
Oh, okay, so then no Chinese people.
I mean, there are.
There's some Chinese. They are communists.
There are some.
They are communists. They don't believe in any religion. So.
Well, they're not allowed.
They kind of got fucked off that one.
Yeah,
Christians are persecuted too, just like Muslims in
China.
But,
yeah, exactly.
No, I would recommend checking out the Japanese Jewish guy, because it came out like in the 1980s and everything, and he literally just talks about how, like, the Jews versus the Jewish people, like the faith of being a Jew and a Jew. Because he's using it as a semi-derogatory. It also gets banned off of YouTube, but it's fucking. It's like 3 hours. It's from like the 1980s, the 1990s. It's on an old VHS camcorder, and he's talking about how the Jews hate the Japanese because fundamentally they're opposed to each other. And I kind of get where you're coming from it, where like, oh, sneaky, and the Japanese are less sneaky.
On Japanese television, they actually admit that the Jews are the Tengu, and they're identical.
Yeah, we had someone. Actually, you know what? Next caller brought that up. Okay, I gotta let you go. Because we gotta get more calls. Thanks, buddy.
Two more.
Yeah. Okay, quick. One more. Quick.
Okay. Jews versus Muslims. Win-win. Let's bring back the crusade. And white people, Jews. What does that even mean?
Well, the white Jews are the ones that are mixed. The Canaanites mixed with Esau. God hated Esau before he was even born, but he was human. That's actually the brother of the man called Israel, Jacob, in the Bible. His brother mated with the Canaanite demons and gave us the modern white Jew. So that's basically, the infiltrator that brought down Europe.
Okay, but what's it mean? Okay. All right,
I gotta let you go. I gotta let you go. Okay, sorry.
Thank you, brother.
I didn't know. He's just too drunk. He always calls in. He's always so drunk. All right, we got Jared. This should be
good
fun.
questions for a drunk guy, though.
Yeah, not bad. He writes stuff down because I think he knows he's so hammered. Jared.
Hello, Danny.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you.
I woke up with a twinkle in my eye when I saw the notification that Dustin Nemos would be speaking this evening. I'm a big fan of your work, sir. I just wanted to say you're doing amazing things. And I'm the resident noticer. I call in every week to Low Value Mail to contribute my 2 cents. You had just briefly mentioned the Tengu.
Yeah, you're the one who told me about that.
Yes, sir. And that's not the only demon associated with Jews and Japanese folklore. There's also the Kappa, which we discussed too, has a little bald spot in the yarmulke.
Yes.
A little turtle-like reptilian creature, which rapes women, looks up their skirts, and is known for stealing and lying. But
the original Ninja Turtles.
Yes, exactly. It looks like a Ninja Turtle.
And Splinter's a rodent. Coincidence?
Dirty rats. Yeah, man.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun tonight. Yes, dude, you're amazing, man. Your research is fantastic. The Serapeum is an amazing website. I can often look towards your work should I want to source something and then just run from there. You're doing good things. I give you a proper Roman salute, sir. Let's have we discussed the idea that Hitler wasn't such a bad guy? And
what do you mean? He was Jewish. He was literally Jewish.
Well, there's different schools of thought. I was just curious if it had been discussed. I've also heard he's a Jew, and his mother was a maid at the Rothschild mansion and got knocked up by a Rothschild, and he spent time in Tavistock. So I don't know if this has been covered as of yet. I missed a short little bit. I had a meeting with my superior, which took me away from listening. So I beg your pardon if this has already been covered.
Yeah. I don't mind recapping it. I mean, my position, I believe that Hitler was, as most governments, controlled opposition, a Jew. His government was entirely obsessed with the occult. I mean, a lot of them were Jews. They don't even tell you about that. His driver was a Jew, etc. But generally, my big points is I like leaders who do not leave their people decimated. Hitler was a Zionist and used the transfer agreement to pay for the catastrophe in Gaza, that the invasion of Gaza. They call it the Nakba, or catastrophe. He was genetically Jewish, including numerous relatives today that are still alive that have been tested. His entire regime, obsessed with the occult, is on his symbols, his coins. He was financed and supported by the Bushes and Jewish banksters. He built Israel basically as planned by Rothschild in 1917, and the Havara transfer agreement was merely a tool to make it happen. The top leader of the Zionist group, Nahum Sakalau, at that time said, quote, "Hitlerism enables us to convert all Jews to Zionism," end quote. So Hitler is basically to blame for Zionism today, according to the Zionist top leader. I mean, Nazi is literally a nationalist and Zionist alliance, not Z. That's what it means. And the result of Hitler's legacy was utter devastation and enslavement of the German peoples. I mean, we still have people in Germany paying reparations and, blood libel lies, essentially. They're blood libeling the Germans, saying that they holocausted all the Jews. And if you dare say anything about them, it's blood libel, even though they've been found guilty over 1,000 times in different countries for things like eating babies. It's not really blood libel if you've been found guilty so many times. I mentioned earlier, after ordering Germany's youth to the front lines, he fled to Argentina in secret with a convenient cover story hoax suicide death. So he saved the economy to spend it on bailing out the World Jewish Congress and Zionism, and he built Israel for the Jews on the soil of another people. He seized Jewish usury spoil and banked it back to the Jews in Palestine via Havara agreement. So he didn't just take the Jews' money, he gave it back to them. I believe
sounds like he might be really Jewish.
Yeah, I think the Nazis were good people, but I do not believe that their government was. I think it was a controlled opposition government, and that's why they lost.
Lost the war.
You even had people like you even had German soldiers, like was it Project Valkyrie, Operation Valkyrie, or whatever, where they tried to kill Hitler to stop him from constantly.
That was a piece of shit movie. Oh man, with Tom Cruise. I remember I saw that movie in theaters. I was like, what?
Yeah,
not the
movie.
That movie is.
It was based on a true story. They tried to stop it because he was a traitor.
Who do you think the producers of that movie were? Oh, he keeps muting himself. It's okay. I got you.
I hit the button, man.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Anyway, so I believe that he was a bad dude. I think he was a Jew, controlled opposition. He burnt down his own grandmother's village to hide the fact that he was a Jew. He assassinated a foreign leader, the leader of Austria next door, because he had evidence that he was a Jew. The NSDAP, the first Nazi party, actually said that he was a traitor and a Jew, and then he got rid of them too. So he covered up and killed a lot of people to try to make this go away.
Have we discussed the possibility of an upcoming false flag with what we've been seeing with tweets about Iranian sleeper cells by the likes of Mossad agent Laura Loomer, and the idea that they're going to send the USS Nimitz into the region to support the U.S. Movements, and it was supposed to be decommissioned next year. So it's a very interesting choice. Why wouldn't you send your strongest battle destroyer?
Yeah. Also USS, sounds like a Jewish name. Nimitz?
It sounds like another.
Yeah.
Or
what is that? The one Jewish
Gulf of Tonkin or 9/11. It sounds like another false flag.
And that's what the writing on the wall is looking like based on what we're seeing.
Yeah.
So I'm happy we're able to.
It would not be the first time to use one of our ships.
Yeah.
Oh no, we've gone over this, and I don't even really know where to go from here because you've covered so many wonderful topics.
I know. He was like a surrogate for you.
Well, I'll say this. We have the answer to the Jewish question. The only answer, Obadiah 18, God's word, they will not survive.
So then it's just a waiting game, really, at this point.
Yeah, I think the revolution is building based off the noticing. I think the noticing leads to the revolution, I think. That's what I believe. I'm not calling for any violence, of course.
Yeah. Interesting.
Have you told them you're Jewish, Danny?
I'm not Jewish. What are you talking about? I don't know why people keep saying that. I think it's just because, like, it's like I'm a comedian. They think it's like a funny joke or whatever. I don't know. All right, Jared. Good talking to you, man. Okay, that was Jared. Let's take one more quick call, and then we're gonna go to and we're gonna let our guests go.
I'm usually pretty good at spotting Jews. You have a deep side profile. It doesn't look Jewish.
I know. I think they're just having a laugh.
What's up, Danny?
Hey, what's up?
So I had a couple questions here. First one I was gonna ask: is Agartha Jewish?
Who?
Agartha?
No, is Agartha.
Agartha.
Well, it's a. I won't necessarily.
I don't know what that is.
Fictional. It's a mythological place under the earth.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like Shambhala type thing.
Hollow Earth people.
Hollow Earth people. So, yes and no. We have underground cities all over the world. Some of them are still connected by tunnels. Like, it's massive, and people live down there by the tens of thousands in some cases with schools.
But I thought the tunnels were Jewish.
Yeah, many of these things were Jewish, and that goes back, or they were trying to hide from something.
That makes sense with Elon Musk being Jewish with the boring machine.
They love tunnels, man. They still do this underground stuff today. So yeah, I would default to thinking that any underground tunnels were Jewish. The Anasazi Indians were hiding from something that they were doing that they created or summoned or whatever, and they fled to the mountains and dug cities in the mountain cliffs and such. That might be a human tribe that survived from something else that was trying to burrow away from it. But basically, yeah, I mean, we have underground cities and we have Canaanites and demons living in those underground cities throughout history. So in a way, you could say that some of these things are the origins of the inner earth, mythos of different nations. You got Shambhala, you got Agartha, you have what Admiral Byrd talked about with underground giants. I can point to examples like the Isle of Malta, where whole groups of school children on they were visiting the underground hypogeum like 3-story tunnel underground city on the Isle of Malta, disappeared, and everybody on the island could hear their screams for like days because the tunnels are an acoustic trap. It actually travels, like if you stand in the oracle room, the whole
acoustic or autistic?
Acoustic.
Yeah, the acoustics travel. They have an oracle room, it's called, in the hypogeum, as they call it, which is the 3-story underground ruin. People used to go down there on trips and tours and such, but they blocked off most of it, or will not let you go down there, or it's controlled now. And after those children disappeared, local children, dozens of them disappeared on a school trip. One woman actually supposedly saw giants down there. She was a British woman. She worked for the government, some low-level clerk type, I forget, or teacher or something. She was there on vacation, holiday. She went down. She saw giants trying to grab her. She went past the ropes and saw things that she.
When was this?
This was in like the 40s or 50s.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to go check my notes on it. I'm a little rusty on that one, but yeah, we have giants being sighted supposedly even in modern times in Iraq, the Kandahar giant, but I cannot confirm that.
Yeah. The redhead, right?
Yeah, they're usually redheaded.
Yeah.
But I don't really believe that like giants are still around anymore, or if they are, they're hiding very well underground because the genetics are diluted. The giants became the Jews. They're tiny, they're evolved, they're weak.
Isn't that weird that they became even smaller than regular people, but they started as giants?
Well, devolved genetics and also constantly mixing with mankind. If you took a Great Dane, mixed it with a frog, and then started putting that back into the Chihuahua population, eventually you would have something that looks like a Chihuahua, even though it always is going to be some sort of mixed frog dog.
Right. And do you think that's why women kind of inherently like taller guys? Do you think that was like maybe a trick that like Satan did?
No, not necessarily. I mean, mankind can get pretty big, and stronger men equals better protection and such. So it would make sense for women to like big, strong men, which, frankly.
But is that like the Jewish trick kind of is what I'm saying, is they started out as these big, strong men and then.
In their prime, they were glorious. I'm sure they were the gods of old. People would, I mean, half of the population or more of ancient Sumeria bound their baby's head with boards on both sides and squished the baby's head to try to make their heads pointy, just to mimic their gods.
Yeah.
And that's why all of the gods and ancient priests always have these pointy hats. I mean, look at Roger Stone's skull today and compare that to an ancient Hittite. Same thing. So we know that the skulls changed and got a little bit smaller. Their skull is still not human looking. Not if you look at it
Do they have a space laser?
Well, they have, space is fake, but they do have directed energy weapons. They've burned down.
And the weather? Because it's been miserable in New York.
HARP. I mean, they were able to park a hurricane on Appalachia in the mountains, right on the quartz and lithium region. And basically, they also timed it with.
Why did they do that?
They want to kill the whites. They want to get the lithium and the quartz. They want to drive people back into cities, the smart cities. There's a lot of reasons.
What if they put the hurricane over a more populated area then?
Well, they don't want to just kill everybody. They want to kill white people. And Appalachians are basically the most rebellious white people on earth. Like, they're pretty much Irish level. And I'm actually of that background. And like, we helped basically, we ran the Civil War. We were the biggest, best fighters in the Civil War and the Revolutionary War. We are rebellious people and very independent. So if they're going to try to shove everybody into smart cities, we'd still be up there in the mountains making our moonshine. Wouldn't care a bit.
There you go. Anything else there, caller?
No, just yeah. This guy lives life in an interesting way.
Yeah.
He thinks a little differently.
The weather weapons are everywhere.
Thank you, Danny.
Appreciate it.
They're all over the place. They're doing this as fast as they can now.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's been our time, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you?
DustinNemos.com has all my websites, the Hidden History, the church. We have a How to Grow Food, Unstoppable Food website. And what
kind of food stuff are you into?
I started the edibles as a, fun hobby.
Like weed?
Project. No, I mean, no, not those edibles. I mean, actual food. Like, I have a food forest and I have a nursery garden business, and I do a channel about how to grow things. So me and my kids get out there and we basically have hundreds of different plants all over our garden, like 50, 60 different kinds of plants, everything from berries and figs and greens and, potatoes and vines, all kinds of fun stuff. I want to help people to survive the famine that the Jews are bringing. So I call it unstoppable food, and I teach people about invasive.
Don't you think like the Jews will like know that you like that people are growing stuff though, and then they'll like kind of have some sort of like pestilence or something to kind of counteract that?
They're spraying barium and aluminum and poisons with the death.
So how do you counteract that? Because they know that you're trying to do that.
There's just too many of us to get. I mean, they're spraying us all. In the Holodomor, they would actually destroy people's food and gardens. But, I want to help people to like mass produce food. And I teach barely legal food. I mean, stuff that is usually banned or not legal to buy because it's
like under 18.
No, like stuff that's so invasive that it can destroy cities.
Oh, like what?
Like Japanese knotweed. You let that get near concrete, it will break the building. It will destroy the concrete. It'll break the road. I mean, that stuff is unstoppable.
And so you grow that stuff?
I want one. I can't even find it.
Oh,
that's the kind of stuff I teach. It's basically asparagus with a lemony flavor, and it's anti-parasitic and it's delicious. But I can't find it because you cannot buy that stuff.
Because if it's anti-parasitic, then you know who probably can't get to it.
So if anybody sees any Japanese knotweed, send me some. I can't buy it from you, but I can receive it.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on. That was very cool. Appreciate it.
That was a pleasure.
Yeah, be well. Dustin Nemos, everybody. That was something. Did you guys have a good time? Phone lines are open. I have to let them go. That was hard not to laugh during that. Shut up, Slav, you Jew. Slav is such a Jew, man. He's so Jewish. Slav, are you Jewish? We don't even answer. We know you're Jewish. Man, that was good stuff. Did you guys enjoy that? Let's read some super chats. We're gonna do some more extra time while people will not picking up. We'll get to Pablo in a second. Let's see. We got super chats. Sorry, I couldn't read some of them because some of them were exposing me. Dylan Farnham says, "I'm glad you liked my Mortimer Schwarzenrich name. LOL, I was laughing about it all day. If you know, you know. Dylan also says, can we all take a second to laugh at the shit that said in the Patreon chat that Jew Talk was holding Danny back? How's this episode for you, dummy? Honestly, I don't know how long this episode is going to be up for. Unfortunately, I don't know if YouTube has a cool sense of humor about stuff. Reagan says, China's favorite Jew name was Israel Epstein. Poison 1553 says, does Dustin have any insight into why the Jews fear the samurai? Bobo McHua says, Christmas is not Jewish, it's pagan. Different European ethnic pantheons have similar stories. Dagda can represent Santa Claus in the Celtic pantheon. Celtic. Dylan says, didn't I tell you and Robbie Starlink was for zombies? AH says, how does God know if we have the mark of the beast? Poison says, if you give Jews their own land to lord over, the only other Jews to rule over, would they not eat each other like the rat utopia experiments? Good question. Reagan Foster says, Danny, definitely not Jewish balls, Chuck. That's true. Dylan Farnham says, I mean, Dustin had excellent Judar, confirmed, just a white guy. Dylan also says, first Mexicans riot and get deported for it. Israel gets torn a new one, and now blacks had to experience Father's Day. Bad week for Democrats. Big Chimpin says, this is graduate level noticing. Strong poker face, Danny. Thank you. I almost cracked many times. The mustache says, good times. Dylan also says, my wife just said Jared must be rubbing his hands together waiting to call in, going, yes, yes, yes. Vincent says, not for nothing, but should have had Jared as a guest, more accurate, less arrogant. This is a great bit, though. You know you, my favorite white boy, DP. Thank you, Vincent. Logan says, my contribution to the goal, 2 to go. Kay says, keep this party going, please. Great episode, Danny. Thanks. Irv Zamo says, the noticing is finding out we are all Jewish. I guess we're all Jewish, yeah. And Jordan says, best Monday night call-in show run by a non-Jew. The chat reactions I feel every week with your regular callers. It's a good time. All right, let's talk to Pablo. Probably Jewish, too. And the phone lines are open. 1-888-949-2969. Everybody, get in there. I'm sure we had a good time. No, Logan, he did not think I was Jewish. Hello. What's up, Pablo?
Hello?
Hey.
How's it going, Danny?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. A great show. Great show.
That was. I'm gonna have to talk to producer Mark. Part of me the whole time I go, man, I want more guests like this guy.
This is a top 10 episode right here. 100%.
Dude, I almost laughed.
Denying your Jew. Your Jew heritage?
Well, that's my Jew tricks right there. Is because I was like, well, Slav's going to call me out for being a Jew, so then I have to call him a Jew first, and then that way, when he's calling me a Jew, I'm like, no, this guy's a Jew. Obviously, he would say that.
Fantastic episode.
Thank you.
I wish I'd been able to talk to him real quick. I called it too late.
Yeah.
But just before, this is an Israel versus Iran episode. I just wanted to put in a quick 2 cents of like, I don't protest. I don't believe in protesting. But if Trump wants to send me over to Iran, I think I might protest.
Are you in the military?
I'm not dying in the desert. No, I'm not. I'm not.
So then why would he send you over to Iran?
If they wanted to draft this for the Jews trying to
if they're going to do I'll tell you what they're 100% not doing. They're not drafting people to go to Iran. That would be crazy.
Crazier things have happened, maybe. But that would be the one thing that I would protest against. I'm not going to go die in the desert for Jews. All right? That's
I mean, hey man, I'm Canadian. I'm too old, and I'll protest with you on that one. Trump would never do that. There's no way they're gonna.
We don't know that.
They're not gonna have a draft. If anything, what they're gonna do is they're gonna start showing 24 all over the TV again. They're just gonna drum up all this like anti-Arab propaganda, and they'll just get people to fucking sign up on their own.
That's more likely what's gonna happen. You're right.
Yeah,
right.
They're not. They're not sending people over. No way. They're gonna have more of those fucking military parades like they had on the weekend, which was pretty nice. It was a nice parade. Did you see it?
Oh no, I was working.
Yeah, well, not like. Did you watch it live? Did you see some of the?
My algorithm has nothing to do with politics. It's just cars, chicks with huge tits, and guns. That's all my algorithm is.
Dirty dog. A real red-blooded American
people
there.
Talk shit about it.
They talk shit about your algorithm?
I think the algorithm's great. Yeah, I mean, people are like, the algorithm sucks. I go, I don't know what you're talking about, man. This shit's
First
great.
off, the algorithm doesn't suck. All it does is literally just show you stuff you like.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it sounds like you people suck.
Yeah, the problem is
the
one thing I will say that I don't like about the algorithm is that you can't avoid the big tits, and then it's literally like a biological response to click on them. And then you're
100%.
stuck with that algorithm when you're like, it's just it can be a bit distracting. It can get you a little off track, if you will. Like sometimes you can find
that is a good point.
Sometimes you can be like, I spent a little too long on Instagram, and it was because of the big tits, which I never asked for to begin with. Dude, have you seen those chicks who are all naked and they're painted?
Yes.
Yeah,
they're great.
Like that shit. You're like, what the fuck? Like, come on, I didn't ask for that.
I mean, speak for yourself, man. I did.
Well, that's fine if you ask for it, but I didn't, and they're still showing it to me. And you're like, what am I supposed to do here?
I mean, maybe he just knows you better than you know yourself.
I mean, sure, that's any guy. I mean, there's a reason why that content does well. I just don't like it. I don't like it. Whatever. I mean, I do like it. I don't like it. I'd like to have a little more control, but I don't spend that much time on Instagram anyway, so whatever.
I just had one last quick thing. I think there is a funny thing. Somebody commented that the Jews fear the samurai.
Yeah.
I wish he had talked about that a little bit more, because there is a big anti-Jewish Japanese issue that I see online, and it just kind of pops up and then disappears. And I go, who's trying to hide the fact that the Jews hate the Japanese?
So I'll tell you who the Jews, like, this is a little inside baseball, in terms of who the Jews do not like. And if you could, like, kind of paint a broad brush here, because obviously it doesn't apply to a lot of people, but mostly Arabs. It's
mostly Arabs.
It's just Arabs. Like, I've never met any Jew that had any animosity towards Christian people. It's literally just Arabs. Like, if you were to say, like, who is the Jew's mortal enemy, it's Arabs.
You are the Jew expert. I will not.
I mean, I can only speak from my own experience. I don't speak for all Jews. I'm sure there's lots of Jews who they don't love black people, depending on how liberal they get. But, it's the enemy number one's the Arabs.
I will take your word for it, Eddie. Either way, thanks for taking my call. I'll let you get somebody else.
All right, later, Pablo. All right, phone lines are open. 1-888-949-2969. Currently no callers. So if that Jew Slav wants to call in, you know who I want to talk to, actually? I want to talk to producer Mark. Mark, if you happen to be there, pick up. Mark, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great. Where did you find that guy?
Where did I find Dustin?
Yeah.
Well, he was one of the random suggestions I often get from fans of Tinfoil Hat.
Oh, okay.
Him on Sam's show, and Sam loved talking to him.
I'd love to get more of those guys, but like more of like interviewing them closer to like a bit than real, because that was probably the most fun I've had interviewing somebody ever.
Well, I'm glad you liked it.
That guy's out there.
I thought it was going to be an instant demonetization.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That goes without saying that there's, if that stays, like, there's a reason why that guy's banned from YouTube. Because I remember searching, when you sent me his name, I was searching on YouTube, and there's like nothing on YouTube with his name, really. So I'm not even going to put his name in the title, just because I can't imagine. There's a good chance he's just flagged.
Well, given the average caller of this show, I figured it'd be a hit.
Sure. I had a good time with him. Definitely had a good time with him. We got some people calling. I don't know if you're able to manage that.
I'm going to grab that. Hold on.
I saw Joe the lawyer called in. I'm sure he has some comments. I don't know if he watched the whole show. I was hoping he would call in, actually, but while the guest was on. I guess we miss him. Joe, if you're there, though, you can call back. And, of course, we're going to give away a Patreon.com membership to one of the super chatters momentarily. Oh, there he is. All right, later, Mark. I'll talk to you in a bit. Producer Mark, everybody. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/low-value-mail, MAIL. $5 a month. Fucking Jews. Sign up.
Hello?
Joe the lawyer.
Hey, Danny. This
Did you catch the show?
Most entertaining episode. Amazing. I couldn't call in. I wouldn't be able. I'd just be laughing the whole time.
I mean, his Judar is obviously not great, but you would be detected.
Oh my gosh, it was just phenomenal. I mean, man, I wish I was part giant. I'm 5'3".
Well, you've just been watered down. Us Jews could do some we was Kang stuff though. Where we go, we used to be mad tall. Although I'm 6'1" almost, or 6'1.5" actually. So,
all right, it's like space lasers. Well, space is not real. Like,
yeah. I'm telling you, I had like maybe 5 times where I was like, I'm about to burst out laughing. I don't think you guys can comprehend how difficult that is.
You were great. That was and like covering up with the like wife and life. I don't know this.
Yeah. Calling Slav a Jew. 4D chess. I was gonna call Jared a Jew, but then I go, no, that's too much. Nobody would believe that.
So I wanted to talk about the whole war going on, and first of all, so I do think that they've been close to a bomb multiple times. I know that they've been saying it forever, but the thing is, you can look it up. Israel and America have been stopping them forever. The whole Stuxnet virus back in 2010.
No, I heard something about that recently. I don't know what that is though.
See, it was all over the news when it happened. Basically, it was like a virus that was able to hack into the. It wasn't even. It was put into like the computers of all like the nuclear stuff, and it like destroyed all their machinery.
Okay, it was like some sort of cyber warfare.
It made like all the all the machines they were using, like they just all went haywire and broke themselves. And apparently this was done with it was Israel and America who worked on this together.
Mm. So they keep getting close, and then they keep thwarting them.
Yeah, and this has been going on for decades.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they seem like they've had designs on a nuke for a while. I certainly don't see the benefit of that for anybody other than maybe Iran. But the thing is, all the Iranian people I know don't like the regime. I was trying to get my friend Sia to call in. He lives in Toronto, but he was like a political Iranian prisoner. Like literally they tortured him and all this shit, like brutally tortured him, all because he just wanted free speech essentially.
I know a number of Iranian people.
Any Iranian not in Iran, they hate. They're like, yeah, bomb the shit out of
100%. Most of them in Iran also don't like him.
Yeah.
It's just they deposed the Shah because the Shah was not the greatest, but I mean he was good for us. Yeah. But he had all these secret police and whatever. He's very paranoid. It wasn't great. But there was, complete freedom there. And then, as soon as he was deposed, radical Muslims took over. But they're maybe 20% of the the whole country. Most of I'd say 80% don't want, don't like the current government and would rather have a secular government again.
Sure. I mean, who wouldn't want to? I guess there's the crazy fundamentalists don't. But you think most people, generally, the natural human condition is you go, I don't want to be severely restricted all the time.
I guess. I mean, it depends on the country. There are some that I think prefer it, but
yeah.
I mean, the thing is, but there are still people it was only in 1979, living memory. People grew up where they went to the beach in bikinis and whatever, and all of a sudden, they have to cover up entirely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the whole thing, though, is America's track record for regime change is quite poor. Very poor. Have they had a successful one since Japan? Like where the country was actually better off, not just getting rid of the person, but just actually like we go, it's better.
I mean, look at Korea. We did a good job there.
That's true. That's true. So you got the Asians are a little more malleable.
Yeah, and
a little more prone to falling in line.
Yeah, I think it was kind of pushed Taiwan to become like democratic. They were initially not.
Yeah, but that's about it.
Yeah, the Asian countries we seem to have luck with. Here's the thing: we don't want democracy there. Democracy in the Middle East, with the exception of Israel, doesn't work.
No. So then what's the end game? What's the end game here?
We need to have a dictator who's on good terms with us.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah. See, it seems like it's not gonna. Well, we'll see. I mean, I guess the best they can do is go bomb the shit out of you and just kind of kneecap your nuclear weapons program, and they just cat and mouse game where they go, all right, we're just gonna start all over again. We'll see you in 10 years or something.
Okay, now I can't prove any of this. But I've heard through the Jewish grapevine.
Yeah.
That the U.S. is going to get involved in about 72 hours.
I mean, Trump is. It seems like that's likely. I mean, they're sending all these carriers over there. He said 2 days ago, he's like, we're not getting involved, and now it seems like he's changing his tone.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't going to be any boots on the ground, but what they're probably going to do is, some fly overhead, bomb a few places, and I would not be surprised if they're going to be dropping down weapons.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, if I said, if there are all these, if there are all these terrorist sleeper cells in America that Trump claims exist, then you're like, that's probably not good if you live in America.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're here already, they've already tried to kill him.
I'm not worried about them killing. I mean, I am worried about them killing him. I'm more worried about them blowing up fucking Citi Field or something.
I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, Joe, I got to let you go. I got a few callers to take here.
Okay, bye.
Good talking to you. Joe the lawyer. No more callers, please. I got to piss my pants. I am going to piss my pants, and we only have, we'll go 10 more minutes. Oh, yeah, we started late. We got 10 more minutes, or a little more. All right, please unmute yourselves. Guys, fucking amateur hour over here. We got Tony Scarboni, and I'm going to give away I'll do that right now, actually. We'll give away a 6-month Patreon.com membership. If you win, you get access to the Patreon for 6 months. Hot damn. What a deal. Let's spin the wheel. And if you are already a patron, many people have chosen to... Oh, actually, here we go. The winner is Logan. Well, Logan is a patron. Well, Logan, if you want, I can give it away. Or I can extend yours. I feel like Logan will choose to give it away. But whatever you prefer, congrats, Logan. Okay, Tony's not picking up for some reason. Let's go to Beau from Texas. Beau!
Yo, Danny!
What's
happening? How's Beau in the house?
How's it going, Beau?
Good, man. How about yourself?
I'm very well.
Okay.
Cool. I got a good time tonight.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that guy was wacky. But first off, I want to tell everyone, call your senators. We got the Hearing Protection Act and the Short Act. Fucking put it in the big, beautiful bill. Let's get that shit passed.
What are those two things?
Okay, the Hearing Protection Act deregulates suppressors down to where it's considered a Title I firearm, basically like a rifle, shotgun, or a pistol.
Okay.
The Short Act deregulates short-barreled firearms, so short-barrel shotguns, rifles, and what is called AOWs, which is like a pin gun, a phone gun, a belt buckle gun, or a cane gun.
A cane gun's not legal?
Well, it's legal, but you have to register it with the NFA, and it's a bunch of extra bullshit.
Oh, gotcha. So you would not, if you had a cane gun, you wouldn't have to register it? I've never heard of a cane gun. It looks like an actual usable cane?
Yeah. And you can make it. It's pretty simple, really. And then, if we get this through, you can do an integrally suppressed cane gun, right? So you can have a suppressor in the tube of the cane itself, plus the barrel, right?
That sounds
it'd be
badass.
really fucking cool to have.
Someone thinks you have a limp.
I know, I want one of them.
Dude, someone thinks you have a limp, and they're like, "Oh, easy target." And you go, "Not only do I not have a limp, I'm about to shoot your ass."
Yeah, it's like, get the fuck out of here.
All right.
I just want to see that passed. This is the biggest push I have seen in my lifetime to deregulate NFA items. And, you've talked about suppressors and silencers on here.
Suppressors? I'll never call them a silencer ever again.
Oh, I know. But you know what's funny, though? Hylam Maxim, the inventor of it, actually, when he was doing his trademark for it, he called it silencers. That's the reason why they have the old name for that.
Ah, so that is technically correct.
It is technically correct, but they do not silence anything. They suppress things. But, it goes back to that Hylam Maxim was the first one to go ahead and coin the term.
Right.
Whatever.
That's fair. All right, call your senators, everybody. Does it matter what state you're from? Or do you call any senator?
Just lie. Make up a fucking zip code.
Why don't you just call every senator?
I do. Every day. I am that crazy with that much time.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good. Well, I'm sure other people are equally crazy and have some time on their hands, so call your senators.
I didn't say that like that. I meant like I'm just that eccentric, autistic maybe, however you want to say it.
Hey, man, if it'll get us cane guns, you sold me a cane gun. Cane gun, I go, we need more of those.
I know, right?
And you can make a cane gun? Do you like retrofit or kind of like fit a normal gun around it, or is it its own thing?
Well, what I would recommend is actually getting a barrel blank off the internet. And I assume you don't know anything about machinery.
Nope.
Sorry, you're more in the realm of jokes. Yeah. So you need to get a lathe and a mill.
Oh, I know what a lathe is.
I know
what a lathe is.
Yeah, so you can go ahead and ream one out to a specific chambering and fabricate it yourself. That's my recommendations. I mean, here's the thing, though. Like,
maybe a
you're gonna
CNC machine?
Oh, hell yeah. I
have
mean,
one.
shit, man. Maybe if you can get a 3D printer, a metal 3D printer, that'd be insane what you can make with that.
That was a good idea. All right. Well, everybody call in. Anything else there, Beau?
Oh, and the other thing is
go ahead.
your guest was he was a little absolutely crazy with the stuff. Paganism is older than Christianity.
Yeah.
It's older than Judaism.
I mean, he would disagree with you.
Like, oh, yeah, but like, I missed the call in.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. We had a fun time.
But please, people, call your senators.
Call your senators, everybody. Let's get this shit passed. All right. Later, Beau. Beau, everybody. Let's try Tony Scarboni again. He picked up way late. It took him 4 minutes to pick up.
Mic check, 1, 2.
Tony Scarboni. What's up, dog?
Am I coming in clearly, or do I sound like shit again?
Sound great. You sound great.
Oh, wow. What a shocker. It's probably because I'm a little bit closer to the border.
Okay. You trying to escape?
I can never escape this godforsaken country, Danny. This is it's my homeland.
I know. I was just hanging out with my my friend from Toronto. Was just down in New York this weekend because his son was playing a hockey tournament at the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Pretty sick mall.
What a great name, by the way,
dude. I think it must be the same guy, the same company who did the West Edmonton Mall and the Mall of America, because it's like one of those massive malls, and it has a hockey rink inside of it, just like it. But all they were doing was complaining about how much Canada sucks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's where we're at, eh?
Dude, I saw one of they were 8-year-olds playing hockey, but they're like elite 8-year-olds, man. I saw this one kid. I go like, that kid's going to play in the NHL 100%.
And you know what's fucked up about that, Danny? He'll never get selected to play for the World Juniors because that fucking management is terrible.
Well, he's American.
He
was American.
Oh.
This kid was amazing. Like, you watch him and you're like, holy shit, this guy looks like he's 8. And it's so funny because everybody there, like, we were watching the game, and then you kind of naturally, because you kind of think it's like you're at a sporting event, so you're like talking shit about the players, but then you're like, fuck, I might be like sitting beside one of these kids' parents.
Yeah, 100%.
And you're literally like, man, this kid fucking sucks. Also, you're like, this kid sucks, and he's like, he's 8.
Dude, like some of these kids are the meta for sports development for youth is like completely fucking leveled up.
Oh man, my friend was telling me he's like
it's incredible.
Yeah, but he's also like the whole system's so corrupt and stuff, and like it's all like politics and
it's a lot of it's more so in Canada than the States. The States is still kind of open to like people who may be less fortunate or whatever.
Well, because they don't have the junior they don't have the junior hockey system in the States. But in Canada there's like the OHL and stuff, and he's like literally parents will like bribe OHL teams to draft their kids.
Yeah, and then the kids are like maybe only okay, or they're already parents of established hockey careers or whatever. And
yeah,
same deal. Yeah, it's like some kind of
and it's like so much money. Like, dude, people talk about like travel baseball and stuff. It's like this is like to the max. Like, dude,
hockey's fucking expensive.
You got to rent ice
when I was a kid because. Yeah, I always played roller hockey because it was cheaper, and I lived in BC. Like,
yeah, dude, my friend literally had to drive down from Toronto, get 2 hotel rooms in like New Jersey. It's like and he does this every weekend in the summer.
That's next level.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, dude. Yeah. How have you been? How I guess in terms of your topical topic, Israel versus Iran, unless if there's some terrorism in America, I don't see America getting involved.
I think they will. It seems like unless it's purely
if they do try and pull some shit, it's going to be America. It's going to be like a direct attack on America. But I don't think this time around Americans are not as like. There's more knowledge to like the corruption of American government. So
the question is, can people do anything about it? Because again, I guess Trump does have to deal with midterms, so it's like he can't go too crazy. But the problem is, you're like, if you're a MAGA person, Trump goes in.
But isn't Trump of all things that Trump isn't he not anti-war? That's a double.
Yes,
negative.
He literally promised a million times he wouldn't start any new wars. But if you're a MAGA person, you're like, what? You're gonna just to punish him? You're gonna go vote for the Democrats who will be like. Gonna chop your kid's dick off? It's like one of those things.
I think Trump lies about a lot of shit, but I think him being anti-war is something that he sticks.
I mean, he was his first time around, but this is a different version of him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, fucking bullshit though. I'm talking to people and young people, and they're like, "Oh, I want to go to the Air Force, but do I really have to fight you for?" I'm like, "Wow, yeah,
you might." Yeah.
Let's
hope not.
Sign up and enlist. Yeah. What's Canada's involvement? I always want to bring the show back to CanCon because fuck CanCon, but we'd still need it anyway.
Yep.
What do you think Canada's involvement is going to be? Like,
in Iran? Fucking zero.
Yeah.
They might support the Iranians. Canada might support Iran. I don't think
and go against NATO? Are you fucking kidding me?
No, I'm just kidding. It's something Trudeau would probably do, but
Trudeau's too busy eating dicks right now and getting divorced by gay people.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Fuck that guy. Fuck Trudeau. I'm one of those fuck Trudeau guys now. Yeah. I used to like him, but now fuck Trudeau.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. Tony, I gotta let you go though. I'm about to piss my pants and I got 2 more callers.
All right,
good talking to you. Good chatting to you. Okay, 2 quick calls, and then we're gonna wrap this up. I'm not feeling good right now. Hello.
Danny. No, you should just pee while we're on the phone, man. We're that kind of level.
Pull off a quartering.
Yeah. I feel
piss
like
piss in the drain.
But yeah, whatever you got to do, man. But yeah, guys, we're just a couple guys like us, right?
Sure.
There's a couple guys like us tonight kind of episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. A couple guys like us, man. I mean, that was I'm telling you, that was the most fun I've had on one of these shows in a while.
I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is I'm a Jew. The good news is everything he said was, well, okay, it's weird because there is all this stuff about like all the advertisements, like they all show like black males with like white females. Okay, what's up with that?
A lot of that.
Okay, you're onto that, right?
I have eyes, correct?
Yeah. Okay. So then right. So okay, and then the white population is declining at a precipitous rate, and it's like the white population is at the expense of all the other ones.
I mean, again, they are, but you're like, nobody's stopping you from having kids. Like the argument that everybody says, they're like, you know how expensive it is to have kids? You're like, then why do the poorest families have 8 kids?
Okay. So this is actually, I went back to, this was like, I said this about an hour and a half ago, like they were taking our money and giving it to non-white people.
Yeah.
So the government is.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so that's the reason.
Well, but they're not giving them money to have kids. Like, what are you saying? Like welfare and EBT and stuff?
Oh yeah. That and
I mean, there's white people who are on welfare.
Yeah.
Like there are white people who are on EBT. Yeah. It's like they qualify for it the same as anybody else does. Maybe they're not using it as much.
And so the overwhelming majority of money that of tax money comes from straight white males.
Oh, I believe that. That's
okay, and it goes to, it goes. It's a wealth transfer from straight white males to non-straight white males, overwhelmingly.
Sure, yeah,
that's
fair enough. But I mean, that doesn't.
My entire argument.
Yeah, but that still doesn't. White people are complaining. We're getting replaced, and you go, well, then fucking have more kids. I don't know what to tell you. Like nobody's stopping you.
No, I literally that's literally what I just said. That was my whole argument for why that's happening.
Yeah, well, you're saying why why white people are not having kids is because their tax dollars are going.
It's because it's a wealth transfer from them to not them.
I understand that, but like I know what you're saying, but I still don't like. You can still have kids just because your taxes are high.
No, I know.
I mean, there's non-white people who are in the same tax bracket who are cranking out way more kids.
Well, they're the recipients of more welfare for one.
No. I'm talking about the same tax brackets as these straight white males who are paying all these taxes. Like if you're, just by brackets, you're like, it's more of like a cultural thing where people are wanting to just, be a little more, I guess, nihilistic and just enjoy themselves a little more. And they're like, yeah, kids are a burden and it's not fun to have kids. Or a lot of women waiting too long.
Yes. I think that's a cultural thing that's been pushed upon us specifically, for one. Yeah. And then I also think that I
agree on that. Like a lot of women are being told you need to focus on your career. Don't have kids in your 20s, and then they get into their 30s, and you're like, okay, well, you can have kids now without IVF, and that shit costs $50,000.
Okay, and then a hot white woman will reject an upper middle class or middle class white man, and just go goo over like a $20,000 a year non-white guy.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I've certainly not seen.
I've seen it happen.
Maybe anecdotally, but there's no way that's a trend.
I think that this would be an interesting point of contention to research further. I think that is. I think so. I think that this is like 10%. The short list of things I've listed off is about 10% of the factors, but there's many other such similar factors. The entire society is angled against.
All right, I'll go look into it.
So I'll take my comments off there.
All right, take care. All right, one more caller, and then I'm gonna go piss, and I can't wait, man. When you hold a piss for a long time though, and then it just feels so fucking good. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me. I just kind of had a little mental episode. Again, if you want to support the show, patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL, $5 a month. You fucking Jews. That was a fun show, though, huh? That was a good time. How did that guy not know I was Jewish? Look at my nose. I kept literally because I'm like sitting and it's like a profile, and I kept like doing this. He'll know if he'll knows. Hello.
Hey.
What's up? Last call of the night
with him and the Adam Sandler thing.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What'd you say?
I said your last call of the night.
Yes. I'm going to make it too quick. I know you got to take a tinky winky.
Don't call it a tinky winky. That makes me sound gay.
You're not gay. Check the P. Is it Rambo? You pee like a straight man. It's yellow.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
And the point I was going to make about the Adam Sandler thing, do you think he saw a little Nicky and was like, this guy gets it?
He saw what now?
I said, do you think the reason he liked Adam Sandler is he saw a little Nicky and he was like, this guy gets it. He understands. Like he's
the Satanism
he's
stuff,
dropping
maybe.
breadcrumbs.
Potentially.
Yeah, he's like, we like Adam Sandler, son of Satan, that movie. So it's kind of like he's letting the the Gentiles of the audience know, like, I see, I know what you're experiencing.
Potentially.
But, so the thing is, because that was crazy because that guy probably is technically smarter than me. Like if he took an IQ test, probably way more intelligent.
I mean,
but
intelligence is pretty nebulous, obviously. That is a pretty nebulous term, intelligence. I mean, ability to recall things, maybe.
He cognitively probably has a higher function than most people. And
his reasoning abilities are not
things with his time.
Yeah, his reasoning abilities are not great.
That's a good. But the thing is, like, he was speaking so confidently because when I clicked the thing, I didn't know who this guy was, and he was like, yeah, "I'm a Christian." It's like, "Oh, you got like a kind of a fundamentalist." Okay, this will be cool. It's like, nope, you didn't get that. I don't know. Like, I haven't checked into the show for a couple of years.
Oh,
the show is it's changed.
It's a little different.
It's reached a new level of greatness.
Thank you. I'm working on it.
Man, I love it. You're doing a lot of really.
I mean, they're not all like this episode. I'll tell you. This one was a top 10 one.
Man, some of these callers, they got me questioning how many people are out there.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Because it's like, I'll leave you with this because I really don't know. There's a line it's a Robin Williams movie. It's called Man of the Year. It's written and directed by Barry Levinson. There's a character played by Louis Black.
Oh, great movie.
That
was all shot in Toronto.
It's very good. Very fortuitous. I didn't know that. Not fortuitous. Very, whatever. I used the wrong big word.
Yeah. It was just famously because he always used to drop into Robin Williams used to drop into like open mics in Toronto when he was filming it and do material that he probably stole.
I know this.
Yeah. But anyways, go ahead. Yeah.
But so in the movie, Louis Black is saying something like, I hate it that everybody's got a TV show because as soon as you put on a TV show, I don't know who to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2006, you're like, oh, wow. Watching it now with the internet, it's like, oh.
Yeah, of course.
That guy had a daytime talk show.
I know. Everybody
How
everybody
many
on
people do you
fucking
think would buy into it?
I mean, he probably has. He said, dude, he's a pastor who has church services, and he's like online. He goes, I have too many congregants to like even have a physical church. They're probably all spread out, but I'm sure he's got tons.
That's what I mean with the internet, though. You take that upon yourself. You're like, hey, I'm going to separate it. I'm doing this in secret. Like, if we allow this in public forum, it's kind of the question of censorship, of how far should it go, if at all. Do you think allowing people like this would cause more people, or do you think it's really like, we can trust the population enough to let them make their own decisions about this kind of stuff? Because for a second, I kind of had to distance myself from it. Cause, like,
it's one of those things where you go, this comes back to the debate of like, or should we not let certain stupid people vote? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some people think that. Some people are like, no, you got to let everybody vote. It's
yeah.
But obviously there is certainly a case to be made that some people are too stupid and uninformed to vote. But that's, you can't not let them vote.
But
I don't know. You're living in a different society at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those.
Well, but then who decides who can't vote? And then all of a sudden someone gets in power and they go, hey, well, if we're not letting certain people vote, then I'm not going to let these people vote, and then it turns to shit.
Yeah.
So you just got to be like, and that's why we just elect the most persuasive people who are not necessarily the most qualified, because, it's kind of like a popularity contest. All right. I'm going to piss my pants.
That's especially true in the last 30 years. Yeah, thank you again. You have a good night.
Yeah, take care. All right, that's been the show. Hope you all enjoyed yourself. Benny the Jet says, don't let Trent vote. I agree. But Trent voted for Kamala Harris. He did. Big Harris guy. Big Harris Waltz guy. That's been the show. Thank you very much, everybody. That has been Low Value Mail. What a fun show. Tell your friends. Tell them all. We will see you tomorrow night. New episode of The Bathhouse at 9 o'clock. God willing, of course. But we're on a roll on The Bathhouse. So that's been the show. Shout out to Mark, our producer. Couldn't do it without him. Couldn't do it without you. All the chatters, the callers. Who we got as our top fans this week? Top fans. Even though I saw some of you just posting nonsense to get this. Apophis, Vince, Superhand. All right. That's it. Thank you very much, everybody. Shout out to you all. Big ups, if you will. That's been the show. Good night.
Really a poet, you know it, all my shit heroic. Empathic abilities, yeah, my face be also stoic. Bleep, blow up, nigga, that just means I'm working. They see me as a leader, so that's why I'm Captain Kirkin. These tracks from the stars, that much is for certain. You can fit this hit if you up or if you hurt. I'm raising my stock, not talking my feet in some Burken. Number Johnny 5, got a fucking short circuit. Bring the track to life when I spit phenomenal. When I hit, she feel that shit in her abdominals. These rappers make me laugh like comic view, they comic through. You know I got a ball out, I hit the track running just like Sonic do. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, and they tried to down me up some KO type shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, now we pulling up fresh on some flight shit. Ha. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, then they tried to down me up some KO type shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah.